Chapter 366. Xiaobao, are you planning to stay in Zhuangzi for 2 more days? Wang Wan sat at the bow of the boat, holding a fishing rod tightly in her hand as she asked Zhang Xiaobao, who was lying on the deck and basking in the sun. The two of them had already returned from Little Luo Shui. Actually, they didn't go out to play as usual. They never said that they could put everything down and have fun once. They came out for a stroll and got a boat company. The boat company wasn't too important. As long as you had money, you could get a boat company. The main thing was that they hired a very special person, Mi Fan, who had a natural sense of danger. If such a person was put on the boat, she would be able to sense danger before they encountered it. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were jealous of this once. Zhang Xiaobao put his arms behind his head and basked there. If there were clouds blocking the sun, he would open his eyes and shout. It wasn't clear if he wanted the clouds to leave quickly or if he liked the occasional cool breeze. When he heard Wang Wan's question, he yawned and said, "My father asked me to help the 2 villages think of a solution. He didn't ask me to go back. As long as I have a solution, I can go anywhere." "Then have you thought of a solution?" "I have a good idea. Tell me why I can't catch any fish, and I'll tell you my idea." Wang Wan seemed to be in a good mood. She swung the fishing rod and said to Zhang Xiaobao, "The hook you chose is too thin. It's only as thick as a chopstick. Of course you can't catch any fish. When we reach Zhuangzi, we'll make a hook with a maximum diameter of 10 centimeters. Then you can fish however you want. Even if the fish doesn't eat the bait, you can hit it with the hook and knock it out." The hook you used was prepared for Wangjing City to send people to fish in the Yellow River. It's not for fishing in this small river. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know if Wang Wan was just guessing or if she really didn't understand. How could they use such a thick hook to catch fish in the river when they were surviving in the wild? Wang Wan took back the hook and gently stroked it in her hand. "In fact, my method is very simple, and that is to let the willing take the bait. It is also a bit immoral. Originally, there was a temple there. Now that it's not allowed, we'll make something else, such as a fox immortal or a fish spirit. First, we'll find some shills to burn incense. They'll use the yaman's money to build the road, all the way to the middle between the 2 villages. After that, they vigorously promoted how efficacious that place was. Others who went to burn incense at least had incense. You also know the situation of that place. The forest was stuffy, hot, and humid. Some people's incense would be damp if they didn't preserve it well. We'll let the people of the 2 villages sell these things in the villages. When they go there and find that the things they brought can't be used, they naturally want to buy them. They'll be willing to pay a little more. It's fine for rich people to do this, but it's not good for those who don't have money to go there." As Wang Wan spoke, she threw the hook into the river again without even hanging the bait. Looking at the floating clouds in the sky, she didn't know whether this idea was good or bad. "So you're saying that your fishing hook is specially made for fishing spirits? It's a good idea, but as you said, some people who don't have money are also willing to join in the fun. We can't say that they are pitiful, but they must be hateful. My father is the county magistrate. It's his responsibility to enlighten the people and spread the word. We can change the way to attract people. We can also use shills. I've already thought about how to say it. We'll say, 'Wear beautiful silk and eat fragrant wild game.' There are many wild animals in that place. It's impossible to kill all the wild animals with that little manpower and those kinds of weapons. We can find shills to go there and promote the delicious food there. In fact, there are also delicious food in other places. It's just an excuse. If one person is willing to go there will be a second one. Especially since there are many wild animals there, some people like to go hunting everywhere. Let them go there. Apart from tourism, I really didn't know how to develop that kind of place. Raising some poultry and pigs would only make their lives a little better. The people who usually went hunting would have to make sure that the animals they raised were not eaten by wild animals. It would also take up a lot of manpower. Especially now, no matter what they eat, it's all green food and can't be sold at a high price. Or let them move out. There's no development if they stay there all the time. Zhang Xiaobao also came up with an idea, but this kind of thing was too uncertain. There was no way to say that they could live a good life by doing this. Wang Wan also knew about this matter. Now was not the same as before. A large group of people felt that life in the city was boring and always wanted to go deep into the mountains. A free-range chicken can be sold for more than 10 times the price. Now, no matter how they raise it, it's still not enough money. It's the same for pigs. Rafting can be used there. It's said that there is a river, but bungee jumping can't be counted on. Without ropes made of that material, even if it's the former, people don't need to go to the mountains to experience it. As long as they are not afraid of death, they can get a boat to float in the Wei River and the Yellow River. It's even more impossible to come out of the mountains. There is not so much land that can be farmed. It's so close to the capital. With so many people, the land has already been divided. Then let's think about it again. There will always be a way. Wang Wan said helplessly. Just as she said that, the fishing rod suddenly wanted to sink. If it was an ordinary child, they would have been taken down. Wang Wan's reaction was different. Her will was also different. She hugged the fishing rod tightly to her chest and supported her feet on the side of the boat. She shouted, "Help me." Zhang Xiaobao turned his head to look. He didn't want to bask in the sun anymore. When he was halfway through a carp jump, his body turned 180 degrees in the air, and he leaned forward at an angle of 60 degrees. He exerted force on his feet and directly pounced on Wang Wan. His body adjusted again in the air, and his legs crossed, forming the same posture as Wang Wan. When he landed on the deck, his 2 feet were also on the side of the boat. He reached out and just happened to hug Wang Wan. The 4 hands of the 2 people changed positions in half a second. They firmly grabbed the fishing rod, and their 4 legs were on the side of the boat. "Someone come!" Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan shouted at the same time. While shouting, they adjusted their bodies again. There were people patrolling the boat. When they heard the shouts of the young master and the young lady, they hurriedly ran over. Looking at the posture of the fishing rod, they knew how big the fish was. They rushed forward and used their bodies to block the front of the 2 people. In fact, they were pressing on the legs of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. After waiting for the people behind to come over, everyone exerted their strength together and finally pulled up a 5-foot-long carp. At this time, the fishing rod was already cracked, and there was no time to get the net. 2 people directly came up and held the carp as if they were wrestling with each other and pressed it to the deck. "Who said that I can't catch fish with such a thick hook?" Wang Wan said excitedly. Just now, she wanted to let go. Fortunately, Zhang Xiaobao rushed over in time. The carp didn't exert its strength in other places, but perpendicular to the side of the boat. Only then did it stabilize. The people on the boat didn't expect that the young lady could catch such a big fish. This carp didn't swallow the hook, but was caught by the hook. The hook was deeply embedded in an inch below the gill. Zhang Xiaobao went over to take a look. He gave Wang Wan a thumbs up. "Good, Comrade Wang Wan. I'm convinced. You can catch it. No matter how you catch it, it doesn't matter if it's the underworld or the legal way. As long as you can make money, it's a good way. Luck, it's all luck, and the subsequent actions of others, such as Song Xiang, Wang Lai, Zhang Xia, and of course, Comrade Zhang XX, who rushed over first, made this carp admit defeat." Wang Wan said modestly. "What do you mean by Comrade Zhang XX? Bureaucracy is not good. Your luck is a bit good. If the villagers of the big and small fragrant hills had this kind of luck, it would be good. Luck. Luck. Feng Shui, there's also Feng Shui." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he entered a state of contemplation. Wang Wan was still thinking about how to eat this fish. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything, she also quieted down. "I know what to do. We can let some people who know how to measure Feng Shui go in and have a look. There are so many mountains, rivers, trees, and so on. People who know how to measure Feng Shui will definitely find a good place. Even if it's a bad place, we can change it. For example, if a mountain is not good, we can blow it up. If the Feng Shui is good, people will naturally be willing to go and have a look. We can put the food and the medicine bath in the village. After eating the good things, we can take a bath. The next day, when we wake up, we will be refreshed. Don't you think it's the effect of feng shui? We can ask for a higher price and scare away the poor people. We can earn money from the rich people. Zhang Xiaobao finally found a good way. Regardless of whether feng shui existed or not, it involved too many things, including air, diet, behavior, the influence of magnetic fields on the human body, underground hydrology, and so on. But it was useful now, and it could be used. According to the environment, feng shui could be changed. If the water channel was not good, they could change it. If it was high, they could blow it up. As long as the people who measure feng shui reached a consensus according to their theory, it could be implemented in the big and small fragrant hills. When Wang Wan heard the word feng shui, she frowned and felt a little superstitious. After thinking about it, she said, "That's better. When you don't understand feng shui, it's a superstition. After you understand it, it's science. Even building a government building needs to be tested, let alone people now. Let's do it this way. Invite more people like this and let them have a good look. As long as they reach a consensus, we can publicize it. We have to guard against some liars, people who don't even know the theory. We must not let them sneak in." Chapter 367. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very happy that a fish like this had brought them a new idea. Logically speaking, such a big carp should be sent to between the clouds and the water to be sold. If people saw this fish and wanted to buy it, they could directly ask someone to cut some of it and make it into a dish. This way, the price would be much higher. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were in a good mood, couldn't care less. Such a big fish was enough for everyone on the boat to eat. The fish head could be used to make soup, and the meat of the fish would taste good with other dishes. They could even make spicy boiled fish. If they didn't have chili, then they wouldn't add it. If they didn't add chili, then it wouldn't be spicy boiled fish. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also planned to let the chef on the boat think of a way to make it. When the time came, everyone would have a meal together. By the time they reached the small bridge next to Zhuangzi, the meal was already ready. Zhang Xiaobao thought for a while and wrote a letter. He then waved at the patrol boat that had been following behind them. "Send this letter to the pier in Huayuan County. Ask someone there to pass it to my father," Zhang Xiaobao said as he handed the letter over. The patrol quickly took it and didn't ask any questions. He ordered someone to steer the boat quickly towards the pier in Huayuan County. At this time, the boat stopped. The meal was ready, and they couldn't go ashore without eating. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate a big meal before they were lifted onto the small bridge. "Where do we go first?" Zhang Xiaobao came to the bridge and asked Wang Wan. Wang Wan originally wanted to run to the corridor to play hide-and-seek with the children on Zhuangzi. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao's question, she thought for a while and said, "Let's go find Grandpa Bai first and ask him if there's anything going on over there." It did not matter to Zhang Xiaobao where they went. He nodded and pulled Wang Wan towards the pavilion in the middle of the lake. Although the old man's house was built next to the manor, it was impossible to find him unless it was the middle of the night. Otherwise, it was impossible to find him at that place. The old man's fishing skills were very bad, or rather, average. He couldn't be compared to Wang Wan, but he still liked to fish in the pavilion. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan always thought that the old man had some mental problems. He wanted to learn from Jiang Taigong, but he didn't want to do it himself. No one forced him to retire and return to his hometown. Sure enough, when they came to the corridor, they saw the old man fishing from a distance. His fishing skills were really in line with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's idea. He didn't even look at the fishing rod. Instead, he drank tea on the stone table next to him. The dozen fishing rods were placed there with bells hanging on them. When a fish took the bait, the bells would ring. If they didn't ring after a while, they would have to take back the fishing rod and put the bait again. The bait would definitely be eaten. The fish didn't have to take the bait to eat. Not only was the old man there alone, but there were also a few young people standing there cautiously. It seemed that they wanted to talk to the old man, but didn't dare to. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't care what those people were doing. They directly ran to the old man's table and looked at the things on it. The old man actually asked someone to cut some cucumbers and put them on the table as fruit. He ate them with a toothpick. This was something done between the clouds and the water in winter. In summer, the cucumbers had already fallen, so why would he do this? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had just finished eating and were a little thirsty. The old man's teapot was placed there, and there was no charcoal burning. They thought that the temperature wouldn't be too high. Zhang Xiaobao picked it up first, put it to his mouth, and gulped it down. He handed it to Wang Wan. Just right, drink it to quench your thirst. Where did the old man get this tea? Why isn't it Junshan Injin? Why do I feel like it tastes like Westlake Longjing when I drink it? When Wang Wan heard this, she immediately took it and drank 2 mouthfuls. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "That's right, it's Westlake Longjing. How did Grandpa Bai get it?" Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao knew that this method of making tea was unknown to others. Even if you really got Westlake Longjing, it would still be a tea dumpling, the fermented or semi-fermented kind. It was impossible to produce such an authentic taste. The two of them spoke loudly on purpose for the old man to hear. Before the old man could say anything, a young man who was standing respectfully at the side stood up and scolded, "Which family's little kid is so insensible? Is this how the family's elders usually teach him?" Zhang Xiaobao really didn't care about the first part of the sentence, but when he heard the latter part, his expression immediately changed. Who dared to talk about his family? It wasn't easy for him to have a family, so he definitely wouldn't allow anyone to do that. Wang Wan was also stunned for a moment and looked at the person who spoke in surprise. She understood that Zhang Xiaobao's obsession in this area was purely a kind of mental illness, and it was the kind that couldn't be treated. It's over. This person is over. Of all things to say, he just had to say this to Zhang Xiaobao. When his illness acted up, it was called killing without batting an eyelid. Wang Wan thought for a moment and didn't have any intention of stopping him. For such an old person, didn't he know to look at the situation before speaking? The old man reacted and said to the young man who had just spoken, "Didn't your parents teach you well? Listen to what Zhangjia Zhuangzi usually says, if the son doesn't teach, it's the father's fault. If the teacher doesn't teach strictly, it's the teacher's laziness. You didn't teach strictly, or you didn't teach the child well. When did it become your turn to speak?" After scolding this person, the old man said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, you haven't come to see this old man for so long. Have you forgotten about me? Some people are just a few years older, but they're not even as good as a child. Don't bicker with others. Tell me, what do you think of this old man's tea?" The old man couldn't do anything. He knew Zhang Xiaobao's temper. If he found the people of the Miao Protection Team, they would just beat that person to death. Such a young child, what could they do to him? Besides, he had the protection of himself and some people. Even if the emperor asked, he could just say that someone insulted his parents first. He still remembered that when Zhang Xiaobao was exchanging conditions, the first thing he asked was for his father to be in the top 3. Usually, when he ate with him, he would always put food in his bowl with cuckoo. As long as he ate a few more mouthfuls of food, he would definitely serve it directly next time. This kind of respect for the elders was not fake. When Zhang Xiaobao heard the old man's question, he took 2 deep breaths. He also knew that his behavior was a disease, but he finally had a family, so he was sick. After glancing at the person who had just spoken, Zhang Xiaobao finally controlled himself and said to the old man, "Grandpa Bai, this tea must have been picked from West Lake, but how did you make it?" "Only a few people in my family know the recipe to make this tea. Did they leak the secret?" When the old man saw that Zhang Xiaobao no longer cared about that person, he said with a sigh of relief, "What secret?" "I asked someone to pick the tea and send it here quickly. I directly handed it to the tea maker in your family, and they made the tea. Isn't it delicious?" Zhang Xiaobao nodded. "It's delicious. It's really delicious. I'm used to drinking the original tea. When I drink this, the taste is different. Grandpa Bai, if you have time, you can ask people to go to other places to pick more tea, such as the ones in Wui Mountain and Sichuan. There's no need to pick such green shoots. Oh, there's such a saying? The old man was interested. Of course. For example, the tea in Suzhou can be picked. The tea in Yellow Mountain is also fine. It's not too far from here. The tea in Lu Mountain, the north of Dongting Lake, and the east coast of Jiangnan. Zhang Xiaobao finally got the opportunity. They were all good tea. He listed them one by one. Chapter 368. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't come here to talk about the tea, but since they saw it, they might as well mention it. After the old man was promoted, he didn't have much to do other than teaching others and fishing. When they heard Zhang Xiaobao mention so much tea, some of them still remembered it and agreed one by one. Xiaobao, we can talk about the tea. Tell me about your family. The old man remembered the tea and asked Zhang Xiaobao about Huayuan County. After all, his nephew was earning money there. It's all right. There's a lot of money in the Yeoman's account. We won't be able to use it all in a short period of time. We'll repair the mountains and roads. After this year's autumn harvest, the people's lives will be much better. Grandpa Bai, in a few days, some scholars will come here. Zhang Xiaobao didn't hide the things in the county from the old man. He mentioned some things and told him the details. The old man listened to them and asked about the food and drinks of the people when they were working. After he understood, he said happily, "It seems that Huayuan County will become a Shang County next year. It's good to be a Shang County. Not only will you be promoted, but there are also other benefits." You heard it. Tell me, what other benefits are there? The first part of the old man's question was directed at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The second part of the question was directed at the young men who were still standing there respectfully. The person who talked about Zhang Xiaobao just now was reprimanded by the old man. Now that he heard what the old man said, he finally knew that he couldn't afford to offend these two kids. Now that he was asked, he decided to show off. So he answered first, "Minister. I'm not a minister anymore." The old man didn't want to hear this title now. Elder Bai, if you are promoted to a county, not only will you be promoted to a county magistrate, but you will also be promoted to a county magistrate. This way, when you are promoted in the future, you can only be promoted to a higher position. This is the benefit. This person changed his words quickly and emphasized the official's rank. The old man nodded and then shook his head. Anything else? Even if County Magistrate Zhang is not promoted in the Shang County, he will definitely have a good official position in the future. This is not important. More? Also, in Shangxian, the bailiffs in the yamen are allowed to carry knives, so the commoners don't dare to cause trouble. The person added. Anything else? The old man was a little disappointed. This person was always talking about promoting people and not daring to cause trouble. This was not what he wanted to hear. That person moved his mouth in panic, but in the end, he didn't say anything. The people beside him also thought of these 2 points. The old man sighed. These people didn't care about the common people at all. If such people were really reminded, they might become like Jia County magistrates from Sanshui County or Huayuan County Magistrate Wan from Huayuan County. The old man looked at Wang Wan and said, "Cuckoo, tell them, what's the benefit of being promoted to a county?" Wang Wan nodded. "Grandpa Bai, we have to start from why we can be promoted to a county. A county needs to send more money to the imperial court, have a large population, and have some places to educate the commoners, such as academies, schools, and so on. In other words, to become a county, we need to have money. Not only do we have to send more money to the imperial court, but also the commoners. That way we can do more business and pay more taxes. If the commoners have money, their lives will be better and they can send their children to school. This is the most important point. Whether a foreign official is good or not depends not on his knowledge, but on what he can bring to the commoners. Grandpa Bai, am I right?" Wang Wan could have said it more clearly, but she was a child after all, so she had to pretend to be young. Fortunately, the old man was not young, so he didn't have any psychological burden to pretend to be young. Yes, Cuckoo knows more. The benefit of being a county is actually the benefit of the commoners. Listen carefully. In the future, Study hard in the academy. Don't just learn how to take the imperial examination, you also need to learn how to do something practical for the commoners. The old man liked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from the bottom of his heart. They were sensible, smart, and filial. It seemed that all the good qualities that could appear in people could be seen in these two children. They were not as naughty as other children. Since he saw them, he didn't see them do anything wrong, nor did they cry endlessly after falling down. At this time, when he heard Wang Wan say the same thing he was thinking about, he happily patted Wang Wan's head and gave a few words of advice to the people standing there. They really didn't expect that the benefit would be like this. It was not about what they could get, but about the commoners' lives. These were not important, but the last sentence was important. Master Bai, you mean, we can go to the academy to study? The person who spoke just now asked happily. Yes. Teaching without discrimination. Although you are not good at learning and think less about the commoners' lives, this is what the academy wants to teach. In the future, the monthly exam will test you on this. If you are below average for 3 months, then you don't need to study anymore. The old man suddenly thought of this. He originally planned to teach students like other academies, but now he found that many people were only good at learning, but bad at other aspects. When he decided to teach them, it would involve some content in this aspect. In the future, anyone who graduated from the academy, whether they were officials or scholars, must always remember this. The monthly exam was not too difficult. There were 2 levels above that. As long as you didn't slack off, you would not be bad. The few people stood there and nodded vigorously. They would think about the future monthly exam later. Being able to enter the new academy was what they were looking forward to. It was good that the minister retired, but he could still contact people in the imperial court. No matter how good his knowledge was, he still needed someone to recommend him. When the time came, they would have to submit an invitation, but compared to the old minister's words, it was far worse. Xiao Bao, are you still here to learn literary selections today? The old man didn't care about the happy people and asked Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and said, "Not now. I will go home and learn from my father. In the future, if there is something I don't understand, Cuckoo and I will write to Grandpa Bai to ask. Grandpa Bai, when you are free, you should go to Huayuan County to have a look. The Yaowang Mountain there is good. There is also the Fragrant Mountain. My family plans to build a big lake at the Yaowang Mountain. The scenery there is even better." "Okay, good child. Then accompany this old man to fish for a while. I will use the fish I catch to cook something for you to eat." The old man didn't force Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to learn. The 2 children were already very hardworking. Some things that people in their 20s couldn't understand, they had already started to understand. The old man spoke casually, and Zhang Xiaobao answered casually. However, the people standing there were different. They suddenly felt a great pressure on them. How old were the 2 children? They were already learning literary selections. Did that mean that they had already learned the simple 1,000-character classic? They had also memorized the Analects of Confucius? Okay, we will eat the fish that Grandpa Bai caught in a while. Literary selections. Now, my father asked me and Cuckoo to stop for a while. When we learned, if there is a person in the Shishan, we can't quite catch up. The words are difficult to understand. Cuckoo and I are reciting area. We will return to learn when we are almost done. Zhang Xiaobao told the old man about the progress of his and Wang Wan's learning. Wang Wan nodded at the side. The old man smiled comfortably and said, "Good. It's good that you know not to force yourself to learn. If there is something you don't understand in the future, remember to write a letter to ask. Just go to the 2 counties' official stops. It's faster." This time, those few people were completely stunned. They had only learned the first poem scroll, but these 2 little brats had actually learned the first poem scroll and the Mountain Ghost scroll. They had even deliberately stopped to recite area. Could it be that the children of the top scholar were so powerful? "Grandpa Bai, let's go back and eat after fishing for a while. I caught a big fish and ate the meat. There are still fish bones left. Together with the fish maw that I saved, we will eat minced fish maw tonight. We will roast part of the fish bones and steam the rest for Grandpa Bai. In the future you have to eat more often. It's good for your health. Wang Wan began to talk about her fishing. When she talked about the fish bones, she suddenly remembered that these things also contained calcium and had the same effect as beef bones. The old man listened happily. After Wang Wan finished talking about the whole process, he said, "Eat." Cuckoo said to eat, then I will eat in the future. Ever since I came to Zhuangzi, this old man's body is getting better day by day. He even specially made a menu for me. You two are so considerate. The old man sighed with emotion and began to fish again. The few people did not intend to leave and stood there respectfully. Zhang Xiaobao took out some soybeans that were popped from the popcorn pot and shared them with Wang Wan and the old man. He said, "Grandpa Bai, in a few days, the people who participated in the individual competition will come. Coincidentally, the academies will be opened at the same time. Grandpa Bai can see what they are like. If there are good people who do not have an official position, please stay. In the future, we can build more academies in other places and compete with each other often. They can learn from each other." Zhang Xiaobao said with a lisp while chewing the soybeans. The old man looked at Xiaobao and suddenly laughed. "Now your family is going to make money again. They may not be able to spend much money on the competition, but there will definitely be some people who will come to watch the fun. Especially those with daughters who are waiting to be married off, they naturally won't miss this opportunity to choose a son-in-law. Tell me, what are your plans?" Hey, Grandpa Bai, you can't always think like this. My family organized this competition. It's troublesome to organize it, but it's also a kind of labor. Of course, you have to get something out of it. In fact, my family will spend a lot of money. My father is going to build more schools in Huayuan County and Sanshui County. When the children are young, they will study in the school first. When they grow up, they will enter the academy. The school needs someone to teach them. Some people who did not pass the exam and have no money can be found to teach the children. During the teaching, they can revise what they have learned before. They can also eat and live and get some money. Chapter 369. The river murmured as it flowed quietly into the distance. It meandered and the sun shone brightly. Zhenjia became the academy, educating people for 100 years. The sound of reading echoed in the fields, like a fantasy between the clouds and the water. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had stayed in Zhuangzi to watch other people's competitions, heard the sound of reading coming from the academy as soon as they walked between the clouds and the water. All the children in Zhuangzi went to the academy to study, except for those who joined later and those who were too young. The old man found some teachers and divided them into several subjects. Zhang Xiaobao didn't let the Zhenjia Academy teach the things written by Wang Wan. Those things would be learned in Zhuangzi after school. Similarly, he didn't teach some subjects related to medicine and technology in the academy. The technical subjects were taught in specialized engineering schools, and the medical subjects were taught in specialized hospitals. When the Yaowang mountain was settled, he would set up a medical school. It would be best if he could pull in a few doctors from the medical school in the capital. The sound of reading echoed in the academy not far from between the clouds and the water. The people eating between the clouds and the water, as well as the villagers, didn't find it noisy. Some even stopped to listen carefully, as if it was a pleasant thing to hear others read. The old man was old, so he woke up earlier. He was doing the 8 animals exercise in the small pavilion. When he saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he made a few gestures and walked to the main restaurant between the clouds and the water. He wanted to eat with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. "Grandpa Bai, some people have come in the past few days. How many students have you accepted? There are some new faces in the academy." Wang Wan walked forward and asked the old man. "I've taken in 11 people. 4 of them are from good families, and the other 2 are recommended by my old friends. Tomorrow, when those people arrive, I can choose some more. I can't be like what you think, where I'll only take in those who are rich." Also, we agreed that the Zhang family would pay for their food, clothing, and housing. We can't be lacking, especially their food. Even if we don't eat meat every day, we should at least add an egg. I've seen the food that the children in your farmstead eat. It doesn't have to be that good. It's fine if they don't have enough milk. The old man pointed in the direction of the academy and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't expect to collect tuition fees, and they wouldn't specifically accept rich students. They wanted to train more people and expect their help in the future. Of course, they would take care of small things like food, clothing, and living expenses. Wang Wan followed the old man upstairs and said, "Grandpa Bai, don't worry. We don't lack money. We promise to have a meat dish every day, but it can't be too good. According to the box lunches we sell now, in the morning, there will be a bowl of porridge, or soy milk, tofu pudding, 2 tea eggs, vegetable steamed buns or deep-fried dough sticks, and 2 small pickles. For lunch, there will be 2 vegetarian dishes and 1 meat dish. There will be rice, steamed buns, and egg soup. In the evening, there will be 2 vegetarian dishes and 2 meat dishes. They will rest for a while after eating and continue to study. Those who don't study will only have 2 vegetarian dishes. They will do whatever they want after eating. Those who study will have a bowl of fish soup before going to bed in the middle of the night. In terms of living, there will be 3 seasons of bedding a year. In spring, summer, winter, and autumn, there will be no need for that. There will be 2 sets of clothes a season. If they wear out, they can mend it themselves or buy it. We will take care of the ink, paper, and inkstone. There will be a fixed amount every month. If you need extra, you can ask. Those who are good at learning will be given more. They can also copy books while they are studying in the academy. We will give them different amounts of money according to the thickness of each book they copy. After all, they have to practice themselves. That is to say, as long as they are willing to learn, they will not only not lack things, but also save some money. Those who are rich don't care. If they feel that the food in the academy is not good, they can eat outside. Between the clouds and the water is only a few steps away. They can also buy their own clothes, but they must be made according to the uniform style of the academy. They also have to embroider the words of the academy on their clothes. They are not allowed to go home or make trouble outside. They can choose to live in the academy's house, which is free. They can also rent a courtyard between the clouds and the water. But they are not allowed to come out after a certain time at night. Grandpa Bai, do you think this is okay? We've done everything we can. The old man did not expect that Wang Wan would say so in detail. It seemed that her family had mentioned this when they came out. He thought for a while and asked, "What if someone is sick?" "Of course, we have to treat the sick. This is free. We can't use 100-year-old ginseng for every illness. We can just give them ordinary medicine. If it's too good, it depends on how well they are learning. If they are ranked first in the academy, we can give them 100-year-old ginseng." Zhang Xiaobao continued. It was normal for people to get sick, but it was not right to use the best medicine on anyone who got sick. If someone really got sick, there was nothing that could be done. "That's good. Then your family will have to spend a lot of money." The old man was satisfied. It was enough to treat the sick. He did a little calculation. If there were 200 students in the academy, the Zhang family would have to spend 4 strings of coins a day, especially on those meat dishes. In a year, they would have to spend at least 2,000 strings of coins, including clothes. After all, there was also the money for copying books. Copying books was indeed a way to learn. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also knew this. But they had to spend money for a long-term plan. It was the same for the medical school in the future. Wang Wan said to the old man at this time, "It will cost a lot of money. In summer, there will be crystal sugar mung bean porridge and sour plum soup. In addition, there will be ice when it's too hot. In winter, there will be charcoal and coal. Every one of them will have to spend money. And there will be tea to refresh them at night. We plan to give each of them half a kilogram of tea leaves a month. According to our method, they can only drink it themselves. They are not allowed to sell it. Ordinary tea will do. We can't let them drink tea that costs dozens of taels of silver." The old man was even happier. In this way, if the students in the academy did not study hard, he would drive them away mercilessly. Your family will spend a few years of money first. When they are successful in the future, they will definitely repay your family. No one dares to go against you. As long as you tell them about the academy, no one will continue to be friends with them. What do you want to eat this morning? The old man also understood that the students who graduated from the academy would be good to the Zhang family and Wang family in the future. The money would not be wasted. It was a win-win situation. Drink milk, eat cake, and a few fried eggs. Ask them to fry a big goose egg. Wang Wan said to the waiter waiting at the door. The cake was baked in the oven that used to bake fish fillets. Milk was not available all the time, so they could eat it when they got there. After a while, the waiter served the food. In addition to the few things that Wang Wan said, there were a few pieces of baked ham and some pickles. This way of eating was only seen in some restaurants owned by the Zhang family. Many people were not used to it, especially the cake. It was good to eat as a snack, but when it was eaten as a main meal, they always felt that it was not full. It was not as good as steamed buns. The old man had gotten used to it these days. He was a little fatter than when he first came here. His weak body had also recovered. Now he did not need to eat a fixed amount for a meal. He could eat a little when he wanted to. He could eat more than one meal a day and eat less every meal. There was a set of special recipes for him. What do we have to compete in the academy? The old man asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan as he ate a piece of salted fish wrapped in egg white and fried in flour. Painting, calligraphy, poetry, and political criticism. These four are all in the academy. As for the couplets, we can put them outside and compare them while we look at the scenery. Grandpa Bai, we should ask them to make more couplets. At least when they are writing poems, they should compare them. Also, the archery competition is at the foot of the mountain. Zhang Xiaobao talked about the competition. Couplets were usually not valued. It was difficult to compare couplets outside and it could be used to test people. After this competition, people who were at a disadvantage in couplets would often use them. They did not have to wait until the Song Dynasty to develop it. It was not known whether the Song Dynasty existed or not. In fact, the most important thing was that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to let the people in Zhuangzi who had learned the couplets recited by Wang Wan take advantage of him. The old man did not know about Zhang Xiaobao's narrow-mindedness. He felt that this arrangement was not bad. He nodded and said, "Then let's do it this way. It is said that many of the people who came have no food to eat. You have to take care of them." That's not a rumor. It's just like that. Some people have already come over. Every day, the people who sell boxed meals at the farmstead will prepare a meal for them. They can choose any dish they like, 3 vegetarian dishes and 1 meat dish. Some of them are even preparing to teach children in school. Wang Wan drank the last mouthful of milk and picked up the cold water beside her to rinse her mouth. The old man did not say much about this. The world was so big that it was impossible to take care of everyone. When they were studying, they did not do much work. When they were in the family, they would be short of labor. Those who studied for a few years and finally got the status of a tribute to the village, but when they came to the capital to take the exam, they did not even have the money to go back home. Most of the time, some families had their own internal schools and found people to teach their children. Ordinary families couldn't do that. They had to borrow books. Under such circumstances, it was very rare for ordinary families to be able to produce talented students. The fact that the Zhang family could arrange something for Zhang Zhong to do was a good deed. Plus, they could set up an academy. When the time came, even if Zhang Zhong did make some mistakes, as long as it was not a rebellion, he could get away with it. Even the emperor had to consider this. When the 3 of them were eating, a waiter ran in and said to Zhang Xiaobao anxiously, "Young master, bad news. Someone jumped into the lake." Jumped into the lake? Even if he wanted to jump into the lake, he shouldn't jump into the lake between the clouds and the water. There are so many other places. Let's eat first. Chapter 370. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan accompany the old man to finish his meal. After a short rest, they went outside together. "Don't stop me. Let me die. I don't want to live anymore." Before the three of them could get close, they heard a person's shouts. It seemed that he was fine. Judging from the voice, he was full of confidence. As they walked closer, they could finally see the person's appearance clearly. At this time, his face was like an eggplant, round and a little flat. His hair was tied up on his head with a rope. His clothes were green. They were wet from the water and were about 4 feet 8 inches tall. He had single eyelids, a short nose, and thick lips. He shouted that he wanted to die. No one caught him. Only 3 yamen runners took out their knives and held them against his body, preventing him from jumping into the lake. "Don't stop me. I don't want to live anymore. Get out of the way. Let me die." The person saw that many people had surrounded him and shouted even louder. He held the back of the knife and wanted to take it away. The yamen runner held the knife against his neck and asked, "Where did you come from? What are you doing?" "I want to die. Why do you care where I come from? Don't tremble. You'll cut it." Being held by the knife, the person didn't dare to move. He stood there and didn't even dare to turn his head. However, he still didn't change his mind about jumping into the lake. The yamen runner was angry. "I won't move. You can move. Don't you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. If you don't move, I won't move. I want to die by jumping into the lake. I don't want to die by a knife." The person's cold sweat flowed down together with the water on his hair. "You're making trouble, right?" The yamen runner shouted again, scaring the person. "I'm not making trouble. Between the clouds and the water forced me. I want to die in the lake between the clouds and the water," the person said again. The people around him laughed scornfully at the same time. "Tell me, how did between the clouds and the water force you?" "You're working between the clouds and the water?" asked one of the people in charge of between the clouds and the water. The man shook his head, looked at the people around him, and angrily said, "It's all because of that curved plow. I had thought of it, but when I was about to do it, someone else did it first. I asked around, and the person who made the curved plow was the boss behind between the clouds and the water. If they didn't make it, then the credit would be mine. If I could be an official and earn a lot of money, I wouldn't be like this now, where I can only repair people's plows and do some chores. Don't you think it's because of between the clouds and the water?" The surrounding people let out scornful laughter again. Some even began to curse. What kind of person was this? To think that he could find such a reason to jump into the lake. It was obvious that he knew that nothing would happen if he jumped into the lake, so he deliberately came over to cause trouble. The yamen runner took back his knife and pointed at the lake, saying, "Now you can jump. No one will stop you, and no one will save you. Jump." "You want me to die? I know what you're planning. Are you afraid that I'll tell others about this? My curved plow must have been stolen by you, and then you made it out to be yours. I'm going to find my uncle and sue you. My surname is Liu. Remember this. Do you know who my uncle is?" The man stopped moving and began to threaten. Unfortunately, Zhongjia Zhuangzi didn't copy him. Even if he did, no one would believe him. The Zhang family made all kinds of things, and they had skilled people who specialized in this. "My uncle is a high-ranking official in the capital. When the time comes to punish you, I will definitely find him. Who can lend me some money first? I don't have any money to go back." The man continued, which led to a burst of laughter. "Your uncle is a high-ranking official in the capital. Why are you dressed so shabbily? You don't even have a travel fee. How did you get here?" Someone couldn't help but ask. "I haven't seen my uncle yet. I didn't find the place. I came from somewhere else. My grandfather said that there is an uncle who is a high-ranking official in the capital. He is in charge of many people, and he is also in charge of this curved plow. I walked around the capital, but the place is too big. I didn't find him, so I came to find the person who stole my curved plow. If you are willing to compensate me, I won't mention this matter. When I came, I said that I came to participate in the competition. I didn't spend any money, and I didn't spend any money on food. This person explained to the person who asked him the question. Everyone despised him even more. He pretended to be a contestant and freeloaded all the way here. He even took a free ride on the boat just to cause trouble for others. They didn't know why the boat that was transporting people allowed him to board. At this time, the old man said, "Your surname is Lu, and your uncle's surname is also Lu. He is in charge of this curved plow? He is a high-ranking official. Is your uncle called Lu Jiro? He is the current Minister of Works. I know where he lives. Go to Vermilion Bird Avenue and ask around. There is a shop called Onren Fong there. When you see your uncle, tell him to take some time to come to between the clouds and the water. There is good news." After the old man finished speaking to the man, he said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, get someone to give him some money. See if it is true. If it is true, he is a distant relative of the Lu family. If it is false, it is not easy for him to come here. Don't catch him." Zhang Xiaobao nodded. The person in charge immediately sent someone to get the money. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not plan to do anything to this man. It was easy to lock him up, but the effect was too small. There were not many people who came to find trouble. Moreover, this man did not have any powerful skills. If it was another trading firm, it would be another story. Letting him go would let people see the Zhang family's generosity. That man really did remember the place the old man said. He repeated it over and over again, as if he was afraid of forgetting. The people around him did not say anything more. They all talked about how between the clouds and the water was the safest place. There was no need to worry about falling and dying. The wine and dishes between the clouds and the water were also good. At this time, the waiter brought the money over. He was afraid that it would be inconvenient for him to take it out and spend it, so he specially divided the money into 100 strings. One of the strings was divided into 10 strings of 10 copper coins. This kind of consideration for details made the people around him start to praise the various benefits of Between the Clouds and the Water restaurant. At the same time, they despised this man who came to make trouble. This man was really not polite. He reached out and took the money. He looked at the people around him and then looked at the old man. He said to the old man, "Who are you? How do you know my uncle? When I mention you to my uncle, I have to say your name. Otherwise, how can my uncle, who is such a high official, remember an old man? My name is Lu Feitong." "Oh, good name. If you really see your uncle, tell him that old man by asked him, 'How high is a minister? Can such a high official condescend to come here?'" The old man laughed and said to Lu Feitong, "Ah, how high is a minister?" Lu Feitong did not know. Not high, just a third-level official. The county magistrate of Sanshui County is a 7th-level official. He will be a 6th-level official soon. A little higher than a county magistrate. They all have a hard life. The old man explained and let out a sigh. Only those who knew his original position would understand this sigh. Lu Feitong thought for a moment and said, "A high official, really a high official. I will go find my uncle. When the time comes, I will ask Between the Clouds and the Water to compensate me. Such a high official, the county magistrate does not dare to protect him. Ha ha ha." As he spoke, he went to find a boat to enter the capital. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed at the same time. The two of them were really helpless. They did not know how a high official like Lu Jiro could have a distant relative, so they just let it be. When the people around saw that there was no more drama to watch, they dispersed one after another. Some people even wanted to jump down from the window to experience it, but they were told that jumping down was also okay. One jump would cost 100 copper coins. They all gave up on the idea. It was really too expensive. "Grandpa Bai, why are you looking for him? What if this person is a swindler?" Zhang Xiaobao saw that it was quiet and asked the old man. The old man took their hands and walked towards the pavilion. As he walked, he said, "If he is a swindler, when the competition is over, I will have someone call him. If he is not a swindler, it is even better." The Minister of Works is naturally in charge of the Ministry of Works. Let him come over and see what your house made. The place where I live first made that fan. There is not much wind outside, so one end is connected to the water. When the water of the small river rushes over, the fan in the house really starts to turn. Put a basin of ice or water in front of the house, and it is indeed cooling. There are records of this in some books, but there are not many places to do it. I think it is convenient. Maybe it can be used in other aspects in the future. I let him come over just to see those small parts and think about it. As for the Book of Nature, after I finish learning it, I will talk to him, especially about the clairvoyance. I am an old man who is about to die. Even if I lose my official position, the Ministry of Works can't just casually send someone over, right? If he doesn't come, I won't give him the Book of Nature. I will only let the person he sends take a look at the clairvoyance. He will be anxious to death. The old man's words left Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan dumbfounded. They did not expect the old man to have such a mischievous side. The thing the old man was talking about was naturally the fan that the two of them were thinking about. He gave the general idea and blueprint to the craftsman. With his experience, he really made it. The first family in Linshui was working on a certain house at night when no one was there. The old man lived in a 2-story house. It was more convenient, so he fixed it first. He didn't expect the old man to have so many things to consider. The old man became interested when he talked about this. He said to the two of them, "When you go back, let your family think about this little thing and see what it can be used for. When the time comes, it will benefit your family, especially Xiao Bao's father. If he has more credit, he will have an excuse to be promoted in the future. Otherwise, people will not accept such a young job." It is still early. No matter what, we have to make Huayuan County into Shang County. It will take at least 2 years. Zhang Xiaobao said. Chapter 371. It was another sunny day. Today, more people came to between the clouds and the water than before. Some people who thought they were talented all came here to participate in the competition. The original rule of the competition was for the students who had failed to qualify to participate. However, after some people heard about this, they went to Shuiyun Club. No one knew who they were looking for, but they randomly pulled a worker over and said that they wanted to participate. They were even willing to fork out some money. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan took it seriously. It didn't matter if the people came to take the money or not. As long as they participated in this competition, people like them would definitely not come alone. Rich people were very likely to be able to call friends. In order to attract more people, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan discussed for a while and decided to increase the prize money for winning the competition by a large margin. Winning in a group would get 2 strings of coins per person, and based on the individual ranking, the first place would get 100 strings of coins and 2 sets of the 4 treasures of the study. In order to let more people have time to come, the competition was delayed for another 10 days. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also went back home and arranged for the coal mine. They let their father collect money, 1 copper coin per ton of coal, and they also gave the village 1 copper coin. The village would have to pay another tax. This way, the yamen would have more money. A ton of coal was 2,000 catties. It was not much when piled up on the ground. A stone of rice was about 100 catties. A stone of coal could be filled with 160 to 70 catties. Because of the density, if it was only filled with coal, it would be more. Roughly, a ton of coal would cost more than 20 copper coins. This price was not low, but now, each place was in charge of some resources, including salt. If they thought it was not worth it, then don't pick it. When the time came, when the pressure was too much, they could bargain and do a favor. Zhang Xiaobao also knew that the current price of coal was very low compared to when he and Wang Wan came. Zhang Xiaobao prepared to earn 7 to 8 copper coins for a ton of coal. He deliberately set the price of 20 copper coins to give people a chance to bargain. No matter who wanted the coal, they would have to find someone with enough coal. Those below the 5th rank could not even think about it. These officials came to ask for favors, so naturally, they had to do a favor. Even if half of them were willing to return the favor, it would be easier for his father in the future. Today, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came to Zhuangzi again. The competition started at noon today. People came and went, and it was very lively here. The restaurants between the clouds and the water were all occupied. Some smart people actually spent money to occupy a few and then sold them to others. When Zhang Xiaobao heard about this, he just smiled. Scalpers existed at any time. Those courtyards that were suitable for people to live in were not empty. Some people could not find a place to live, so they could only go to the nearest Zhuangzi. The villagers had houses, but it was a pity that the villagers in Gujia village had not built houses yet. The houses were crowded, and only one or two were available, which was far from enough to meet the demand. This was Xiaobao's idea. He did it on purpose. Every day, the competition would start at noon. After lunch, they would be able to go and watch the competition. Furthermore, the competition was divided into the preliminaries and the finals. There were 4 competitions, which added up to 20 days. Those who participated in the competition did not have to worry. There was free food and a place to rest. As for those who wanted to watch the fun, those who had money could stay from the beginning to the end. Those who did not have money could only watch according to the competition, especially those who were close to it. Grandpa Bai, did you see that? Our culture is flourishing. From today on, the academy will become famous. Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, the old man, Lu Er, and Exine Air were all on the roof of between the clouds and the water. Looking at the people coming and going, Zhang Xiaobao stood up and said loudly. The old man naturally would not be fooled so easily. He looked at the people below and said, "Our culture is flourishing too. How much did your family earn this time? The restaurants and accommodation are all full. Many people have no place to stay. Tell me, how much did you earn from the advertisements? You put up flags and put up banners. Grandpa Bai, you've wronged us. We don't earn much from advertisements. Look at the advertisement for Purple Bamboo Pavilion. They have the most and biggest flags, and the banner is placed in the most obvious position. It's about the same for the 4 Directions Clothing Company's advertisement. My family even used boats to advertise for the meat and grain companies. We only took 100 strings of cash from each of these places, which is just enough to make the advertisements. The rest is for the labor. We did not take any money from the advertisements. How can we make any money?" Zhang Xiaobao said to the old man with a wronged expression. The old man did not know about this matter. He asked Zhang Xiaobao in confusion, "Why did you not take money? Do you want to do something good?" Zhang Xiaobao shook his head like a rattledrum and said, "Who wants to do something good? It's all for you, Grandpa Bai. You are now the dean of Jianjia Academy. Look, there are so many people here. Won't you take in 300 to 500 students? My family is afraid that after you take in so many students, we will not have enough money to make clothes and food. We can't even afford the mung bean soup and charcoal in winter. What will happen to the academy then? We can only ask for less advertising money and let them take out half a year's worth of necessities for the academy. For example, the 4 treasures of the study will be taken care of by Purple Bamboo Pavilion. For example, the meat store will send fresh meat every day. For example, the clothing store. They are responsible for making clothes, aren't they? The necessities are enough for the academy and we can't ask for money. All of it will be included in the advertising fee. That is to say, half a year's worth of necessities for the academy will be settled by this advertisement. You don't need to spend any money. After half a year, you can compare with other places. In only 20 days, you can earn half a year's worth of necessities for the academy. Your family is really good at making money. It seems that your father should work in the Ministry of Revenue." The old man did not wait for Zhang Xiaobao to finish and continued his words. At first, he was thinking about how much money the Zhang family would spend on the academy. Now he did not need to worry about that. The Zhang family had their own way of making money. Zhang Xiaobao nodded embarrassedly and explained, "Grandpa Bai, you can't say that. In fact, we don't need them to provide the necessities. We can just use the advertising fee. The main thing is that every time we buy, we have to negotiate the price. The price of the meat is not fixed. That is to say, my family is using the advertising fee to buy the necessities in advance instead of getting the necessities for free. If my family received the money in one go, we could use it to make more money. We are just afraid that they can't pay in one go, so we use the method of paying in installments. The necessities of the academy will be paid by my family. The old man thought about it and agreed. However, he was interested in paying in installments. He asked, "Can other things be done in installments?" "Yes, but not now. Flying money is only used for bulk transactions. There are also pawn shops and loan sharks. Their original profits are high, so they don't need to pay in installments. Some loan sharks are actually using installments to collect money. Every time a certain period comes and the family can't pay back the money, they will give a portion of the money first. Speaking of responsibility, I don't really understand either. I'll tell Grandpa bye when I learn." Zhang Xiaobao originally wanted to mention the matter of the bank. He did not work in the bank, but he knew the internal situation. He had to use it in the past, but he suddenly realized that it was not appropriate to say it now. His family could not gain much from it, and it could easily affect the interests of others, so he had to stop. The old man did not continue to ask this time. He felt that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew so much. It was impossible for them to know more. It depended on what the Zhang family taught them. They continued to watch from the rooftop. The old man was deeply impressed by the Zhang family's way of making money. Every day, it would start after noon. Naturally, there would be nothing in the morning. It was impossible for people to stay in their places and not move, not to mention that the scenery here was so good. Renting a boat to play in the water for a while, or going to the mountains to take a look, and buy some things along the way could let the Zhang family earn a lot of money. There was also the market, which usually started in the afternoon. Since there were more people coming, there were people setting up stalls in the morning before dawn. There was also the grocery store. No one knew where it got so many goods, but it was also on display. Naturally, the people who came here to play would not be like ordinary people, exchanging things for things. They could only buy things with money, especially some exquisite trinkets. They were all collected. When they were collected, they were cheap. Now that they were sold, the price could be doubled. With all kinds of snacks and ice money, the Zhang family would probably earn a few thousand strings of coins in 20 days, maybe even more. There were crosstalk and skits at night. If they wanted to watch them, they would have to spend money. Zhang Xiaobao was also calculating how much money they could earn. After he calculated, it was more than what the old man thought. These days, he transferred a lot of medicine from other places. He also asked someone to go to the hospital to find a doctor. The doctor would be here in a while. When the doctor came, he would examine the people who came here for free. If they were in good health, he would recommend health supplements to them first, including food therapy. If they were not in good health, he would treat them directly. It was just right that they could stay here for 20 days. The diagnosis was free, but they would have to pay to buy the medicine. The restaurant could also directly promote a few kinds of medicinal cuisine. Those who did not have much money would drink the medicine directly, while those who had more money would eat the medicinal cuisine. The medicine was bad, but the medicinal cuisine was not bad. In this way, plus the health supplements they bought before leaving, they would probably still have a few thousand strings of coins left after giving some money to Li Sun and Zhuangzi of the Gu family. Xiaobao, do you think your family's method of earning money can be used elsewhere? The old man felt that if it was possible, he should let people try it elsewhere. The businessmen had money in their hands. If he did not earn from them, who would he earn from? In particular, he could let the imperial court do this. When the imperial court had more money, he could do something. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. As long as you choose the right place and make the necessary preparations, it can be used with a little modification. In a few days, we will also do it in Huayuan County. However, it will not be a matter of the students. We won't be able to earn too much, but there will be a lot of benefits. What are you doing? The old man asked curiously. It's a medical competition. It's best to let some medical doctors from Beijing participate, Zhang Xiaobao replied. Chapter 372. Afternoon, the competition began. Everyone was looking forward to it. Both the original students and those who joined later were slightly nervous. Some people even felt more nervous than during the imperial examinations. There were too many people watching. After their identities were verified, they took their competition numbers and walked into the academy. The academy was a one-story building, but it occupied a large area. There were even some fertile fields. The yamen had made fake land deeds for them. While the others went in, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan got a boat and floated on the lake. The two of them did not want to see others compose poems. This kind of impromptu poem with a proposition was rarely outstanding. They did not want to suffer. The old man went over. He still had to see who could enter the academy. Lu Er and Exionaire were also brought along by the old man. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went to the lake to play and see how the competition was going. If there was nothing else, the two of them would return to Huaiyuan County early the next morning. The construction there was one after another. The two of them were afraid that their father would be too busy and had to go back to help. Looking at the water, I want to jump in and float there instead of sitting on the boat. Zhang Xiaobao narrowed his eyes and looked at the sunlight reflecting on the water. He felt stuffy and hot. It would be very comfortable to swim in the water. Wang Wan didn't feel anything at first, but after hearing what Zhang Xiaobao said, she started to feel hot. There was a shelter on the boat that the two of them were rowing. It blocked most of the sunlight, but the wind that blew was not as cool as the surface of the lake. It was also hot and stuffy. Xiaobao, stop talking. Why don't we go back to Zhuangzi? There's a swimming pool there. We can swim there for a while and then sleep. Wang Wan reached into the water and paddled a few times. This time, she finally felt cool. Okay. The two of them were playing on the lake when waves of shouts came from the direction of the academy. They did not know how many people were shouting, but they could hear it from so far away. Forget it. Let's go back to Zhuangzi. There are movements here too. Zhang Xiaobao had been rowing for less than an hour when he heard the cheers from time to time. He was a little annoyed, mainly because the weather was too hot, making it difficult for him to calm down. The two of them rowed the boat to the dock between the clouds and the water, and together they walked towards Zhuangzi. The main courtyard there was not abandoned, and there were still people there to clean it. As they walked along the road, they saw the villagers walking in a hurry, and they quickly left after greeting them. Xiaobao, it seems that the farmers have earned quite a bit of money this time. They are all two-story houses and there are quite a few rooms. Renting out a room for 10 copper coins a day is not much. I can smell the strong smell of stewed chicken. Did the farmers decide to stew chicken for their people at noon? After all, there are so many poultry here. Wang Wan sniffed twice and said. Zhang Xiaobao also smelled the strong smell. If only one family cooked it, it would not have been able to survive for so long after eating. He smiled and said, it seems that the farmers want to deal with some of the chickens. Stewing chicken every day for 20 days. I don't know if those people will get sick from eating it. It's scary just thinking about it. Wang Wan thought of the situation of eating chicken every day, covered her mouth and laughed softly. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, the chickens we raise here are sold in different parts except for laying eggs. Although the price is not cheap, we can't make them into finished products and sell them to make money. Why don't we think of a way? Think of what? Roast chicken? That's fine, but we need to have a market first. Otherwise, if no one buys the roast chicken, it will be ruined at home. Who likes to eat roast chicken? It's best if it can be preserved for a longer time. Without vacuum equipment, it won't work even if we freeze it. In the past, when the chickens were big, we could kill them and freeze them to sell. If the roast chicken is frozen, what will it taste like? When Zhang Xiaobao thought of the finished product processing, the image of roast chicken flashed in his mind. Wang Wan thought about the frozen roast chicken and said, I don't think it's a big deal. If it's frozen, it's frozen. The smell has already entered the chicken. When the time comes, if you want to eat cold, you can eat cold. If you want to eat hot, you can steam it. In addition to roast chicken, there is also smoking chicken. You can use some burning wood chips to smoke it. Zhang Xiaobao sold 13 spices, so he knew some recipes. It was a mess. Basically, the methods were different in every place, but the general ingredients were similar. When he heard Wang Wan's words, he nodded and said, "Then let's do both to increase the income of the farmers." "Then, have you thought about how to sell it? Even if it's frozen, it can't be stored for too long. Otherwise, the price of one chicken won't be enough to cover the cost of the cold." Wang Wan also mentioned the problem of sales. Zhang Xiaobao said confidently, "Stupid people will directly roast and smoke the chicken in Zhuangzi before selling it. Can we open the roast chicken shop and the smoked chicken shop elsewhere and carry out the roast there? We can make more adjustments and see what flavors the people in the place like. We can specially cook according to what the people in that place like to eat." Zhuangzi is responsible for delivering chickens to various places. Now that Zhuangzi is only planting rice, it's much more leisurely than before. We can let some of them go to other shops. It's like what we said before. We won't limit them to Zhuangzi. We can provide them with the recipes and ingredients. When the time comes, we only need 10% of the net profit. 10% of the profit for each shop is like a membership fee. Let's make it cheaper and not so much. The money we collect from 9 shops is the same as the money from one shop. Let's open shops in the entire prefecture first. When it's about time, we don't have to worry. There will naturally be people who want to learn or buy the recipes. Let's try and see if there are such people. If there are, we'll let them join. We'll sell them the chickens and the seasonings. We can't take the net profit because we don't have that many accountants to calculate how much they've sold the chickens for. We can only add the price to the seasonings. Zhang Xiaobao actually didn't expect many outsiders to join. If there were, he would take them. If there weren't, he could just use the village to sell them, especially those who were in a hurry. If they bought a roast chicken, they could eat it as both a meal and a dish. It was convenient. It was even more so for boaters. They could eat it at any time. They could even hold a chicken leg in their mouth while working. The cost was low, so it wouldn't be too expensive. The chickens also didn't need to be raised that big. Although most roast and smoked chickens were roosters, hens could also be made. Chicks could be raised for 3 months before they could be used for cooking. They could be sold by weight and could be bought in half. Half a chicken would cost about 20 copper coins. It wasn't expensive at all. A chicken that laid eggs could be sold for a few dozen copper coins. Who would say that the chicken hadn't laid eggs yet and couldn't be sold for such a high price when they bought a roast chicken? Wang Wan had also thought of this point. If they did this, they could raise the chickens for a short period of time. As long as they sold the chickens quickly, they would earn more money than waiting for them to lay eggs. The chickens that laid eggs had to be specially supplemented with calcium. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to lay eggs or they would be soft-shelled eggs. The ordinary people in the area might eat less, but they could specially open their shops in places with high traffic. Xiaobao, since chickens can be smoked, then we can also use a better method to smoke the meat. The people here who have some money don't like to eat pork. First, it's because there aren't many people who usually raise pigs. Unless it's at the foot of the mountain where they can cut some pigweed to feed the pigs, people won't be able to eat, let alone feed the pigs. Another reason is that pigs always like to roll around in the mud. Even their feces and urine will be stained on their bodies. But after all, there are still people who eat it, especially the ordinary people. They can't eat other kinds of meat. The fatty parts of the pork can be oily, and the lean parts can also be used as food. We can get people to smoke it and sell it to such people. I think that the feces of poultry can be fed to the pigs. In addition to the grass on the mountain, there won't be a need for too much food. The pig feces can also be used to feed the fish and raise the earthworms. When we go to Huayuan County, we can leave this matter to the farmers and provide them with ideas. What do you think? Of course, why not? Even if we fail in the end, we won't lose too much money. People always have to try again and again. Maybe the farmers will be able to come up with more ideas. We'll do this when we go back. Let's not swim for now. Zhang Xiaobao agreed with this idea very much. At first, he also thought of something like this, but he was delayed by other things and didn't have time to do it. After the pork was smoked, it tasted good. Moreover, it was different from the smoked chicken. After smoking the chicken, it couldn't be scattered after smoking. That way, people would specially choose a good place to buy it. After the pork was smoked, it could be cut into slices or made into strips and turned into smoked pork jerky. It could be stored for a long time and was convenient to carry around. When they went out, they would bring some with them. It was better than the smoked meat and the kind that was directly smoked here. The rich people didn't eat it, but they also didn't sell it to them. Because of an idea, the two people who had been idle began to work again. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to mix ingredients. Some of the ingredients that he didn't have, he had to replace them with other similar ingredients. After this kind of prescription was mixed, it was too difficult for outsiders to distinguish it by taste. Many spices were not used at all by people nowadays. They were only sold in medicine shops as medicinal materials. All kinds of medicinal materials were ground into powder and then some spices were added. Unless a doctor who was proficient in cooking carefully tasted it, there might be some hope. However, Zhang Xiaobao wouldn't give this opportunity to someone who was both a cook and a doctor. According to the different prescriptions, the spices were mixed into the wine or soy sauce. Even if they couldn't be mixed, they would be taken out separately and mixed with some neutral spices that didn't affect the taste. Zhang Xiaobao was in charge of concocting, and each time he concocted a sack of it, Wang Wan would write down the manufacturing method. When the time came, all she had to do was give it to the villagers in the farmstead. Some of the villagers could read a few words by now, but even if they couldn't, it was fine. The children in the farmstead were all studying in school. After a lot of work, the sky was already dark. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found the people in the inner courtyard who stayed behind and asked them to bring the oven. They were going to roast a few animals first. At the same time, they were going to let the farmers see what they were going to sell in the future. When the two of them were busy, they didn't feel hot. Now that they stopped, they realized that they were sweating. Chapter 373. The summer weather changed quickly. Before going to bed last night, they could still see the stars in the sky, but when they woke up in the morning, it was already covered with dark clouds. However, there was no wind, which made it hard for them to breathe. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate breakfast with the old man. They brought him a roasted chicken and a smoked chicken. Xiaobao, cuckoo, it seems that you are ready to go back. It may rain today. If you want to go back, you should leave early in case you encounter a storm on the river. I have already thought of the topic for today's competition, rain. They may still be thinking about today's topic last night. The old man broke off a chicken wing and gnawed it as he spoke to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not comment on the old man. As a minister, he actually bullied the students. It seemed that the old man liked this feeling. They did not know how the children in the academy would live in the future. Perhaps the old man would come up with an idea to torment them. Grandpa Bai, we really have to go. We don't need to look after things here. The others are already doing a good job. Grandpa Bai, if you think this chicken is delicious, you can have the people from Aqua Cloud Room serve it to you. Remember not to eat too much. Things that have been smoked or roasted are always not as good as usual. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the gloomy sky outside and said to the old man. Wang Wan also added, Grandpa Bai, when you find it hard to breathe, open your mouth to the fan and breathe hard. You will feel much better. Okay, I will remember. Don't forget to write a letter when you go back. Don't worry about the academy. I can handle this. Eat quickly and leave early after eating. The old man listened to their words and said with relief. After a quarter of an hour, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left between the clouds and the water by boat. They followed the river and quickly went downstream. At this time, the gloomy atmosphere changed. The whistling wind made the river ripple. Raise the sail, raise the sail. Seeing the wind, Zhang Xiaobao shouted excitedly. Boats on this kind of small river usually did not need sails. Occasionally, a sail would be pulled out from a boat, especially when it was going against the current. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's boat was specially made. There was a sail on it and a rudder at the back, which was much better than other boats. When the boatman heard the young master say to raise the sail, he had no choice but to raise it. However, he did not raise it fully, only half of it. In such a strong wind, the boat could easily capsize. Once the sail was raised, the jib made use of the wind to push the boat faster. There were several times when the boat flew out of the water. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan stood at the bow of the boat. Each of them tied a rope around their waist and the other end of the rope was tied to the mast. This was not requested by the boatman, but by the two of them. They did not want to experience the feeling of being rescued. What a strong wind! I'm in such a good mood. It would be even better if the sky was a little darker and the wind was a little stronger. Wang Wan opened her arms and said excitedly as she felt the wind blowing. Zhang Xiaobao felt the same. Yes, this kind of time makes people a little scared. When facing such majestic weather, there is an underlying thought that does not admit defeat. Zhang Xiaobao also opened his arms and closed his eyes, experiencing the feeling of flying. After taking a few deep breaths, Wang Wan asked Xiaobao again, "The issue with Bu Xing hasn't been resolved yet. They've already collected quite a lot of food. You wouldn't ask them to change their profession to become grain merchants, right? The Chens have helped us this time. How should we repay them?" "Yes, they are still collecting grain." Zhang Xiaobao seemed to have just remembered. He patted his forehead and said, "We have to think of a way. Those grains are useless in their hands. If they dare to sell them, they will definitely be attacked by the grain merchants. It is better to transfer them to the grain merchants at a fair price. We will compensate them." Bu Xing, what can Bu Xing do? Now, it's like they've ordered the sails in advance. When our big ships come out, there's no need. Now, some big ships have been taken over by the Jing River. I want them to prepare more sails so that our big ships can sail around the coastal waters near the mouth of the Yellow River. Zhang Xiaobao had indeed forgotten about the matter of the Chens for a few days. The people of the grain merchants were too weak. They were defeated with just one trick. It turned out that they were planning to prolong the war. I thought that the head of the Chen family would reject us, but he actually agreed so readily. It seems that ever since your father became the county magistrate, he hasn't had a single peaceful day, Zhang Xiuying said. That's fine too. I thought that the head of the Chen family would reject us, but he actually agreed so quickly. After hearing Zhang Xiaobao's idea, Wang Wan felt that it was a good idea. If they sold the grains to the grain merchants at the purchase price, the grain merchants would not suffer a loss. The weather was hot, and there were more people eating noodles. They could take the opportunity to grind the grains into noodles and sell them. They could also make more money than usual. In the past, all the grains here were collected by the grain merchants. At worst, when the grain merchants transported grains to the northwest, the grain merchants would give them some benefits. Now that they had a grain merchant, they gave the majority of the profits to Li Sun. However, Li Sun would not kick them away. In the future, they would use the grain merchants as if they were his own family. With the help of the wind and the water, the ship arrived at the dock in 3 hours. Seeing Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan get off the ship and stand at the dock, the boatmen on the ship had time to wipe the cold sweat on their foreheads. This journey was like flying. It was too fast. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not care whether the others were frightened or not. The two of them were looking at the road from the dock. There were many people working diligently. It seemed that the road was different every day. Even if it was going to rain, the road workers did not have the slightest intention to stop. They had already put on their bamboo hats and put their straw raincoats beside them. It seemed that these people were going to continue working in the rain. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew that it would be useless to try and persuade them, so they boarded the carriage and gave the driver some instructions. The driver drove the carriage towards Huayuan County's Yamen at a leisurely pace. On the way, it started to rain heavily. The lightning lit up the sky. Along with the rolling thunder, bean-sized raindrops fell to the ground. With the sound of splashing, a layer of mist appeared on the ground. The dry heat and stuffiness of summer were all gone at this time. The wind carried the cool breeze everywhere. What a heavy rain! The speed of all the projects will be slowed down again. The coal mining will also have to stop. Hope it comes and goes quickly. Otherwise, if the water accumulates too much, it will easily become a flood. Wang Wan said worriedly. She opened the wooden board that was just closed to block the window. A gust of wind came in with the rain. She hurriedly closed the window and let down the curtain. I remember that there is no flood at this time. It should continue to be dry for a while. Zhang Xiaobao leaned against the wall of the carriage and recalled. Maybe there is no record. Let's sleep. It is comfortable to sleep in this kind of weather. When we wake up, we will almost be home. Wang Wan did not care about this matter. She lay down and closed her eyes. Then let's sleep. Zhang Xiaobao yawned and fell asleep on the other side. Zhang Zhong did not know that his son and daughter-in-law were on the way back. He was now urging people to fill the sacks with sand. He asked a few local elders, and they all said that the rain would last for at least 3 days. Zhang Zhong was not worried about the river that was connected. When the river was connected, it had already been repaired. He was afraid that the river at Yawang Mountain would burst. In that case, there would be no need to manually repair a lake. A large lake would directly form there. But there were more than 3,000 people living there. There were also temporary houses, tents, and other supplies. If there was a flood, they would all be gone. It would also make the road repair work unable to continue. Therefore, before the rain started to fall, Zhang Zhong led a group of people to transport a lot of burlap sacks to that place. There were still some burlap sacks there. Zhang Zhong left behind the transport team behind and rode his horse all the way. Finally, they arrived at the place before lightning and thunder appeared. He ordered people to stop the road repair work and rush to the river. There, he began to fill the sacks, in case there was a flood and they were unprepared. In addition to filling the sacks with sand and stones, some wood from the mountain was also transported down. Someone took a saw and began sawing out the trunk. When the time came, they would nail it into the river. Otherwise, the sacks would not be able to withstand the current. Once one was thrown into the river, another would be washed away. It could only be used under the condition of wooden stakes. Master, I think this river should be fine. The water is still shallow. Why don't we let them do it first? Master, you should take a rest. If something really happens, we'll have to rely on you to take charge here. After the rain fell, the yamen runner in the inner courtyard tried to hold an umbrella over Zhang Zhong's head and advised in a low voice. Zhang Zhong reached out and held the handle of the umbrella. He looked at the people working and nodded. It's fine now, but I can't guarantee that it will be fine in the future. It's good to take a rest. I hope nothing will happen. Master, you are a literary star from heaven. If you say nothing will happen, then nothing will happen. Master, be careful. The yamen runner said. The place where he stood happened to block the blowing wind. In just a short while, his back was wet from the rain. When Zhang Zhong walked to the door of a room, he suddenly remembered something. He ordered one of the guards, "Go back to the yamen immediately and tell them to load the coal in the warehouse onto the cart and bring it here. Remember to cover it with oilcloth and don't let it get wet. Once it rains, we have to go into the house to cook. The firewood on the mountain can't be used. We can't eat it raw. It will be fine after a few days. Go quickly." The guard did not delay. He turned over and mounted the horse. Wearing only a bamboo hat, he whipped his whip and galloped away. His figure disappeared in the rain in the blink of an eye. Everyone else, don't be idle. The wind is strong. Be careful of the tents being blown away. See if any of the houses are leaking. Quickly plug it. Zhang Zhong still did not enter the house and shouted at the door. The yamen runners immediately ran to check the tents and houses. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also awakened by the continuous sound of thunder at this time. They lay there, unable to sleep, and stared at each other. Chapter 374. Midway through the journey, they joked about the lake, pointing out the mountains and rivers, carefree and unrestrained. Where should we dig? It's raining so heavily. Aren't you afraid that the water will flood the fields? Wang Wan advised worriedly as she listened to Zhang Xiaobao's crazy words. There's no fields. We planted a lot of wheat there and harvested it long ago. The land is empty. If we don't dig the lake out now, it'll be hard to work when the rain clears up. Zhang Xiaobao insisted. Even if the river flooded, there couldn't be too much water. Wouldn't a lake be enough to fill it? It could reduce the pressure downstream. Wang Wan wanted to persuade him again. She opened her mouth but couldn't find a reason. She could only say, "Then where do you want to dig the hole? Don't let it wash away the construction site. We'll see when the time comes. Let's go home first and persuade my father. Send someone to the coal mine to tell all the excavation teams to stop. No matter if it's the people from Elm Village who help us dig or the people who came to help us, no one is allowed to work. If something happens, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. Yes, we have to stop. Although it's still an open-air excavation, who can guarantee that there's no fault in the coal? If there's a hole, it'll be fine on a normal day, but if it collapses on a rainy day, there won't be enough time to rescue it. It'll be like quicksand, gone in the blink of an eye." Wang Wan wasn't the kind of person who didn't care about the lives of others for money. Her family had a lot of business and didn't lack the money for coal. Zhang Xiaobao thought for a moment and said, "Even if the rain stops, they can't start work for a while. There's definitely a lot of water in the hole. Without a pump, we can only wait for the water to seep in slowly. It's too dangerous to let people draw the water bit by bit. The county and Elm Village will have to pay less." Wang Wan nodded. She suddenly thought of something else. "Since we've stopped, why don't we do something else? I'll teach Huzi how to train military discipline first. Then I'll find some strong young men from Elm Village for Huzi to train. The last time I went there, the young men were all good. Do whatever you want. Remember to pay them." "I don't know anything about this. What about our original healthy seedling protection team?" Zhang Xiaobao saw that Wang Wan couldn't wait to train, so he let her. "There's nothing we can do. We'll continue to leave them at the farmstead. In the future, the seeds and land there should be better and better than the fields. If someone goes there with bad intentions, they can come in handy." Wang Wan actually felt a little uncomfortable when she saw that her father always brought the guards of the Wang mansion with him when he went out. What if some of the guards were bribed by someone else? Even Li Sun didn't know about them. It wouldn't be good for the family if they knew too much. As the carriage moved with difficulty, the two couldn't sleep. They began to talk about various things. When they talked about Zhuangzi, they also analyzed the flood resistance ability there. The conclusion was that there was no problem. There were some small channels connecting it. As long as there was water, it would be sent to the river. The lightning didn't stop and the thunder didn't stop. Usually, it would take them at least half a day to finish the journey. Because of the heavy rain, they didn't arrive at the yamen until 4 in the afternoon. They turned to the back door. As soon as they got off the carriage, they saw people rushing out and asking about the dangers on the road. The two of them were busy replying. After everyone had asked, they started talking about Zhang Zhong. "Ah, my father went to Yaowang Mountain? Then we have to go too. There's something important." When Zhang Xiaobao heard that his father wasn't at the yamen, he pulled Wang Wan and walked outside. He changed the handle of the carriage and said to his mother, "Mother, you have to tell the yamen runners to spread out and look around the county. If there's a house that can't withstand the flood, immediately arrange for someone to repair it." Zhang Wang clan agreed. Looking at the backs of her son and daughter-in-law getting on the carriage, she wanted to say something. In the end, she sighed. When she turned and walked back, she said to Wang Wan's mother, These two children have a busy life. They have to be busy when there's something. Sister, you're right. We'll wait until everything in the county is settled before we can have some free time. Wang Wan's mother also sighed. At Yaowang Mountain, the people working there were still working hard to pack the sacks. The river had risen a lot. If it continued to rise at this rate, then by tomorrow morning, the river would overflow the embankment. At this time, Zhong Zhong didn't have the leisure to rest. He stood on the embankment and watched. He only wore a bamboo hat on his head and didn't wear a straw raincoat. He let the rain hit his body and stood motionless for half an hour. Master, there's nothing to do here. Why don't we go somewhere else? Master, you'll get sick if you stand like this. How can I explain it to the young master? The yamen runner followed Zhong Zhong step by step. He had also stood there for half an hour. Several times, he wanted to put an umbrella on the master's head, but the master refused. This was not the first time he tried to persuade him. Zhong Zhong and Wei Wei shook their heads. They even took off their clothes because they thought the straw raincoats and bamboo hats were a hindrance. They worked in the rain with bare arms and said, "It's okay. This rain won't make me sick. I usually eat the kind that strengthens the body. Do you think the water will rise?" "I don't know. It doesn't look like it will rise." Master, you'd better go and dry the clothes. When this little one entered the yamen, the young master told this little one to take care of master's matters. Master, if you don't hide, this little one will help you carry them back even if I have to carry them. The yamen runner was really anxious. After persuading him again, he prepared to do it. Zhong Zhong didn't wait for him to do it. He turned around and asked, "What do you think Xiao Bao will do if he is here?" "Ah, Master, are you talking about the young master? If the little young master was here, then this lowly one would not be in a hurry. The little young master was very resourceful and capable. Even if the sky collapsed, with the little young master around, this lowly one would not be worried. The little young master would definitely be able to withstand it." The difference between an ordinary person and the little young master was like the difference between heaven and earth. Master, I'm not saying that you're not good enough. I'm saying that the little young master is smart, but sometimes, when he does things, he's actually quite good. It's like this. The little young master, he is really not bad. Master, I'm not talking about you. The yamen runner had a crazy trust in the young master. When he heard the master mention the young master, he felt that he had overdone it, so he quickly explained. Zhong Zhong waved his hand and smiled. He turned his head to look at the river and said to the yamen runner, "If Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are here, I don't have to worry. I can find a place to take shelter from the rain, drink some hot soup, and chat with others. I won't be in such a hurry. Unfortunately, they are in Zhuangzi. Even if I send a fast horse now, they will only come back tomorrow noon or later. The rain is heavy, so it's difficult to travel. Master, can we send someone to ask the young master and young lady and pass the method back? We can't let the young master and young lady come back in the middle of the night. The river is so dark, and it's very dangerous with the wind and rain." The yamen runner was also regretful, but he gave an idea. The young master couldn't go, but others could. He believed that the young master and young lady would be able to tell the method directly without needing to ask for the purpose. The yamen runner was sure in his heart. The two young masters were like gods to him. Zhong Zhong shook his head, thought about it, and nodded. "Fine, then send a few people to go by fast horse and go by land." "Don't you think I'm too useless? I have to worry about the children. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo are also busy over there. How can Master be useless? Master is a kind person and loves the people as his own children. Master can rush to the front when there is a problem. Master is not greedy for a single copper coin. Master's most amazing thing is that he gave birth to the young master." This lowly one doesn't know much, but I understand that a person who knows when to advance and retreat is a powerful person. Master has handed the matters of the family to Madam and has never interfered. This lowly one thought about it and thought that Master knows that he can't manage the family well. Master let the young master and young lady do the work of making money and giving ideas. This is true ability. To say something disrespectful, no matter how capable the emperor is, he can't do something by himself. Whoever should do it will do it. Young lady also said that each profession has its own specialization. Master doesn't need to think about other things. Master just needs to do his own thing well. That's ability. This time, the yeoman runner was speaking the truth. If he were to talk about the people in the main house that he listened to the most, it was naturally the young master and young lady. If he were to talk about the person he was most afraid of, it was the madam of the main house. But if he were to talk about the person he respected the most, it was none other than the master. Zhong was just asking out of boredom. In fact, that was what he was thinking as well. He didn't expect that the person who was always by his side doing chores would actually say such a thing. It seemed that there was a difference between learning and not learning. The people in the inner courtyard had studied for 2 years. Every one of them was able to do some reliable things when they were released. Thinking of this, Zhong chuckled. He looked at the yeoman runner and said, "What have you learned recently?" In reply to Master, "This lowly one is reading about the mean when I have free time." This lowly one's favorite phrase is, "If a country has principles, it will not change. If a country has no principles, it will not change until it dies. If a country has no principles, it will not change until it dies." This lowly one asked the madam of the main house. After knowing what it means, this lowly one pondered that if this is true for the country, it should also be true for the main house. The yeoman runner really didn't fall behind in learning. After hearing the master's question, he immediately followed and expressed his loyalty. "Good, it's really good. In the future, read more and learn more. If you don't understand, ask me. If I also don't understand, then find someone to ask." Zhong was very happy in his heart. Which servant in the inner courtyard could casually say such words? Someone in the Zhong family could. The yeoman runner wiped the water on his face and said, "Master, how can you not know? Master, you are the top scorer. Any one of our Zhong family is better than others, especially the main house. They are all capable." "Yes, they are capable. But the capable people are not here. Can they come up?" Zhong returned to reality. The rain was still heavy and the river had not stopped. Chapter 375. The water level in the river was still rising. It seemed to be rising very slowly. If one stared at it with their eyes, they could barely see the extent of the rise. However, every 2 hours, they would find that the water level had risen a little. The sky that was filled with dark clouds seemed to be even darker. Even though it was not night yet, the people on the shore were still there filling up the sand and stones. Zhong had already gone back to the fire once. A part of his clothes was dry, but a part was still wet. The heavy rain did not have the slightest intention of stopping. Zhong once again stood on the embankment. "Master, if the water level really rises, where do you think it will break?" The bailiff's heart was tightly gripped at this moment. In a short 4 hours, the water level had risen another inch. As long as it rose another 4 inches, the lower part of the embankment would not be able to stop the flood. How could Zhong know where the water level would break if it didn't drop? He could only force himself to be calm and said, "When the time comes, we'll see which place is dangerous. We'll get people to nail the stakes there and pile up the sandbags." The bailiff nodded blankly. He did not have any good ideas. He could only save the place where it was dangerous. Just as they were talking, water began to seep out of a section of the embankment. The seeping was not much, but under such heavy rain, it could be seen. Master, here is the water, master." A person in charge of monitoring the situation saw the situation and hurriedly shouted at Zhong. At this time, a clap of thunder sounded, causing the person's shout to be much softer. However, such a soft voice, in the ears of everyone, was louder than the clap of thunder that day. Zhong turned his head to look, and his feet also moved. As he ran, he shouted, "Where is it? Don't be afraid. Come, Bring the stakes over. Sandbags, sandbags. The person who was arranged to carry the stakes did not dare to be negligent. He carried the sharp stakes and ran over. The people who were guarding the sandbags also immediately carried sandbags and rushed over. Nail it for me. If there is a break, use people to block it. Take a rope, tie one person to one person. If we die together. Zhang Zhong changed from his frail appearance. He took off his official robes, rolled up his sleeves, and stepped forward. The Yamen runner was so scared that he hugged Zhang Zhong. Your Excellency, you can't go down. These people are still waiting for your order. This humble one will go down, let this humble one do it. This humble one can swim and is not afraid of this. Your Excellency, please put on your clothes. We haven't made a decision yet. The commoners were stunned for a moment. Only when they heard the bailiff's words did they react. They didn't care if the dam was about to burst. They rushed up and smashed the wooden stakes with all their strength on the inside of the river. The ropes on the other side were also prepared. One by one, bare-chested young men were tied up one after another, waiting to block the dam when it burst. After a quarter of an hour, the tense atmosphere was finally relieved. After the wood was nailed in and the sandbags were thrown in, everyone was no longer as worried as before, even though there was still water seeping out of this section. The 2 rows of wooden stakes were smashed into the river and sandbags were piled inside. For a while, there was no danger here. The bailiff took the official robes that Zhang Zhong had just taken off and wanted to put it on for Zhang Zhong. It wasn't easy to put on this kind of official robes. When Zhang Zhong took it off, it had already been torn. He could only drape it over his body. After being soaked by the water, there was some mud on it. He didn't look much better than a beggar. But it was this kind of official robes that was the real official robes in the eyes of the commoners. Even if it wasn't very decent, even if Zhang Zhong looked very embarrassed, in the eyes of the commoners, Zhang Zhong was a county magistrate. He had more authority than the other county magistrates. Zhang Zhong was also scared for a while. He was really anxious just now and wanted to help. Now that he had calmed down, he ordered, "Send people to guard the other places. Absolutely do not allow any breach." The commoners were very obedient and let people check the places one by one. The bailiffs also found ropes first. If there was any danger, they would jump in first without waiting for the county magistrate's order. A waterproof lantern covered with oil paper was picked up and faintly shone on the river. The water seemed to have risen a little. In addition to the sound of rain and thunder, there was only the sound of the commoners working and the sound of digging sand and stones. At this moment, the sound of nature seemed to be separated from the sound of people. They could all hear it, but they were so different. Just between these 2 sounds, a new sound was discovered. The sound of horses' hooves in the water came from afar. The sound was getting louder and louder. There was also a waterproof lantern in front of the carriage. On the light yellow oil paper, there was a picture of 2 rice seedlings together with their eyes wide open. When everyone was fixed on the lantern, the bailiffs in the inner yard suddenly carried Zhang Zhong up and crazily shouted, "Master, the young master and the young lady are here. Master, the young master and the young lady." Zhang Zhong was also shocked. He never would have thought that his son and daughter-in-law would suddenly come over at this time. Beside the carriage, there were also guards who were controlling the horses steadily. They stepped on the water with the same footsteps, making clattering sounds. "Father, did you think it was too hot and came out to take a cold bath? What happened to your clothes? Did someone push you into the river?" On the way here, Zhang Xiaobao met the guards who went to look for them. Knowing that it was dangerous here, he sped up and jumped off the carriage. Looking at the situation, he knew that everyone was worried, so he deliberately said a joke. Zhang Zhong could not describe his current mood. He looked at his son and daughter-in-law and said, "Xiaobao, they are going to break. What can you do?" "Ah, is it really dangerous? What can I do?" "Yes, I do. God told me where to break, but I don't agree. If I don't agree, then it will never happen," Xiaobao proudly said. He even raised his head to look at the sky. A large bolt of lightning flashed above his head. Xiaobao was so scared that he trembled. He reached out his hand to wipe his face. He still had that indifferent expression. Others did not know whether what Zhang Xiaobao said was true or not, but the bailiffs next to him completely believed it. They echoed and shouted, "Did you see that? Our young master said that the place where the dike will break, if the young master says it will not happen, then it will not happen." Zhang Zhong was really puzzled at this time. Was his son really a monster or an immortal? Could he even change the things of God? He asked uncertainly, "Xiaobao, can you really make the place where the dike will not break?" "Father, in fact, it is not certain. If God and I think the same and want to break at the same place, then I can't stop it. If God says that the place where the dike will break, that place may not be fixed, but if I say that the place will break, then it will definitely break. Father, wait for me and Cuckoo to look around and then choose the place where the dike should break." Zhang Xiaobao said to his father like a tongue twister. He pulled Wang Wan and began to look around. Zhang Zhong understood that his son did not come to prevent the dike from breaking, but to find a place where the dike would break. Seeing his son and daughter-in-law disappear in the heavy rain, Zhang Zhong did not know what to do. After about half an hour, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan turned back like drowned rats. "Father, this dike can't be blocked. We don't have a lake yet. Let people take advantage of this time to dig a channel and lead the water to the lake. Now that we have a lake, the matter of the river here is also solved." Zhang Xiaobao finally chose a place. From there, the water could flow to the designated place and also bypass the place where the people lived at the bottom of the mountain. The dike there looked more stable than other places. It was okay to be stable, but it could not withstand damage. Zhang Zhong heard his son's words and felt that it was indeed the case. He hesitated for a moment and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Do you really want to do this?" "Father, don't worry. It's just 3 days of rain. It may not be able to fill the lake. There is no other way. Do you really think that your son is an immortal? If I have that ability, I can just make some money. Why do I have to work so hard to make money? Father, hurry up and give the order. Otherwise, there will be water seeping in a while." Zhang Xiaobao saw that his father had not made up his mind, so he scared his father a little. Just now, when he was walking around, he heard someone say that there was water seeping. Naturally, he also heard that his father was going to personally jump in to block the dike, which made him scared. Zhang Zhong muttered, "I really want to do this twice in a row," and finally made up his mind. His son was not an immortal, but his son was usually not wrong. "Someone, over there, dig a channel for me. It will connect to the low-lying place behind. Be quick, don't dig the dike first." Many people did not know what the county magistrate wanted to do, so they could only follow the order and dig according to Zhang Zhong's request. With the help of the weak light of the waterproof lanterns and the lightning, they began to work as if their lives depended on it. In just 2 hours, they had dug out a channel where the rainwater had seeped in. The deepest part of the channel was 4 feet deep and 6 feet wide. With this channel, it was impossible to smoothly drain the rainwater, but at least there was a direction to drain it. If the water was not drawn over, the dike would burst from who knows where. Dig on the dike, little by little, let the water come over first." Zhang Zhong then ordered. A few of the bolder men tied ropes to their bodies, and with shovels in hand, went up to that spot, and began to dig up the soil and throw it into the river. After waiting for about 7 or 8 minutes, the river would be able to overflow the lower part and flow into the canal. "Sandbags, sandbags. Pile them up 1 zhang away from the channel. Pile them up tightly." Zhang Zhong shouted to those who were ready to carry the sandbags. These people carried the sandbags and began to pile them up on both sides of the channel. When the dike was dug and the water flowed down, the sandbags were piled up. Chapter 376. Most of the people were paying attention to the diversion of water, so they did not hear the sound of the carriage behind them. The guards of the Wang mansion noticed it, but they were far away, so there was no need to rush over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also noticed it, but the two of them just glanced at it and ignored it. In the end, that person directly came over and questioned them. Everyone turned around to look. The commoners did not know much and did not know who that person was. Zhang Zhong and his family looked at the person's dark red official robe and knew that he was a fourth-grade official. What's the use of being a fourth-grade official? Why are you still pretending to ask others to hold an umbrella for you? If an umbrella is useful, we won't have to endure the rain. Wang Wan was part of the system and was disgusted by the system. She muttered at the side. Her voice was loud enough for the person to hear. In such a dark time, it was hard to see if the person's face had any changes. Zhang Xiaobao also did not hold back. After all, this person was the one who questioned him just now. He also said, I have seen this kind of thing many times. When you get an assistant position, you feel that you are awesome. Especially when you meet someone with a lower rank, you are afraid that others will overlook the existence of the assistant. I guess he is just an assistant. The rain is heavy and the light is dim. I can't tell if it's dark red or light red. Maybe he is a fifth-grade official and deliberately let people hold the umbrella. When the rain falls, he looks like a fourth-grade official. Look at my father. If his clothes are not damaged, people will believe that he is a sixth-grade official. Good method. I am the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works. Why should I wear a fifth-grade official's uniform? Where is Huayuan County's county magistrate Zhang Zhong? The person waved his hand and pushed away the umbrella that was held for him. He asked the crowd. He is actually short-sighted. Zhang Xiaobao saw that his father was clearly beside him, but this person was still looking around. He looked at him with the help of the lanterns and understood. He was short-sighted. Unfortunately, there were no spectacles in this era. Then why not make a mirror for him? He spent a lot of money to buy materials. How about the assistant minister? Even when Grandpa Bai came with an official position, he didn't act like this. Wang Wan muttered in dissatisfaction. Sir, Zhang Zhong is standing right in front of you, the person holding the umbrella whispered into the assistant minister's ear. At this moment, Zhang Zhong also took 2 steps forward and asked the assistant minister, Are you Assistant Minister Lu from the Ministry of Works? I am the county magistrate of Huayuan County, Zhang Zhong. Oh, you are. Assistant Minister Lu Weiwei nodded. Immediately, someone brought a lantern over and shone it closer. Why did your clothes become like this? What kind of decorum is this? Assistant Minister Lu was able to see more clearly this time. He glared and questioned loudly. The people who came with him thought it was quite normal, but the people who were working around them didn't want to do it. They shouted and swarmed forward, scaring Assistant Minister Lu into retreating several steps. He couldn't see what was going on, so he shouted, What are you doing? What are you doing? What do you want? Sir, let's get down to business. Zhang Zhong's clothes seemed to have been accidentally torn when he was controlling the flood. He didn't have time to change them. The person holding the umbrella was worried that his people would be surrounded and killed by the people, so he had to persuade him. Assistant Minister Lu raised his sleeve and wiped his eyes. He then tugged at his clothes, which were almost wet. Only then did he say, Zhang Zhong, Minister Lu of the Ministry of Works wants you to hand over the person who wrote the book on nature to me. Immediately send someone to find him. Who? What salt? Zhang Zhong didn't know that his son and daughter-in-law made a book on nature, so he asked in confusion. You don't know the person in your family and the book? Are you trying to lie to me? Assistant Minister Lu glared at his eyes again and asked with a straight face. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heard this, they knew it was a lie. It seemed that the minister had only found out about the book when he saw the old man. In that case, Lu Feitong really was a relative of the minister's family. Could it be that the plough was also made by him? Ask him later. He's a talent. Wang Wan thought of Lu Feitong and pondered. If everything was really a coincidence, then this person might be of some use. Zhang Xiaobao agreed deeply and said, We have to find him and find out the truth. This assistant minister is a bit annoying. Zhang Zhong was also angry this time. Not to mention that he didn't know what nature was, even if he knew, so what? Whose superior was it? There were too many superior officials. After standing there in silence for a few breaths, Zhang Zhong decided to ignore this person. He turned around and waved his hand at the people. Continue to fill the sandbags and protect the canal. The people in charge of the piles should also prepare. If any place is damaged by the water, block it up. After saying this, Zhang Zhong took large strides to the side of the canal. In fact, he didn't take more than 5 steps. He stood on top of the sandbags and asked someone to hold a lantern to watch the flow of the water. In the eyes of the people, there was only the county magistrate. If someone else came, they wouldn't care whether it was a wolf or a dog. It had nothing to do with them. Listening to the county magistrate was right. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao took out a paper bag from his chest. It wasn't oil paper. The paper was wet and rotten. He dug out a small thing from the bag and handed it to his father. Father, eat some ginger. It's raining heavily outside and the wind is cold. Zhang Zhong looked at the thing his son handed over. His hand had already reached out, but he retracted it. Xiaobao, father can't eat it. The people are also holding on. They have been outside for longer than father. If the people haven't eaten, how can father eat it? You and Cuckoo can eat it. Zhang Xiaobao didn't insist. He waved his hand and called the bailiff over. Go to my carriage and ask around. He knows where the medicine for the bath is. In a moment, get someone to boil some water and boil the medicine. When the time comes, give it to my father, Cuckoo and I, as well as some wine. The one for the ginseng. Do you remember? Young master, I remember. Don't worry, I'll go and prepare it. It won't be bad. The bailiff replied and turned around and ran off. At this time, Assistant Minister Liu, who had been left out in the cold, finally reacted. Just now, there was someone in front of him. He thought that Zhang Zhong hadn't left. When he heard Zhang Zhong's voice, he realized that the distance between them wasn't right. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. His eyes widened again. He pointed in the general direction of Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong, didn't you hear what I said? I want to impeach you. Then why aren't you writing the impeachment report? There's no one outside to prepare a brush, ink, paper, and inkstone for you. This isn't a post house, and it's not a yamen. There's no place to entertain an official, and there's no place to prepare food for an official. Assistant Minister Liu, please do as you please. If it were another county magistrate, perhaps they would be afraid. However, Zhang Zhong didn't care at all. He didn't want to be a 6th-ranked official. Instead, he came here to be a 7th-ranked county magistrate. There were so many people buying coal, why would he care about an assistant minister? If he wanted to impeach someone, he would send someone to investigate. After Zhang Zhong finished speaking, he strolled up the canal. The lantern moved with him. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan followed behind, ready to run at any time. What if there was a leak? The two of them didn't think that they had the ability to survive in such a situation. Seeing Zhang Zhong leave, the people brought by Assistant Minister Liu couldn't stop him. There were bailiffs, guards, and many people glaring at them. The person holding the umbrella had to come up with another idea. Sir, why don't we do as Minister Liu said and ask about the book? If we can see him, we'll see him. If we can't, we'll leave a good impression on him. Unruly people, they're all unruly people. Did you see? They dared to open up the canal and let the water flush the county. Just this alone will let them know what's good for them. Assistant Minister Liu was still angry. He rushed over in the rain, and the sky was dark. He didn't expect that when he met someone, they didn't treat him well and didn't even give him a cup of tea. This kind of person definitely couldn't be forgiven. The person holding the umbrella didn't care whether he could see it or not. He nodded vigorously. Sir, you're right. If you want to impeach, then what should we do about the matter? Minister Liu said. We can't rush into the yamen to arrest him. We have a few people here, and it's easy to not get out. Umph. Wait for me to go over and scare him. I'll make him hand over the person himself. With the person in hand, the Ministry of Works will be different in the future. What book do you want? Come with me. Assistant Minister Lu seemed to have been affected by the environment and the things he had encountered. He became crazy. He didn't care about what would happen in the future. He only wanted to suppress Zhang Zhong. Normally, he definitely wouldn't be like this. With a heart full of anger, Assistant Minister Lu stumbled toward the lantern next to Zhang Zhong. The other people who had followed him couldn't do anything. They could only follow him and occasionally protect him. 2 people walked in front of him and carefully blocked him to prevent him from falling into the canal. At this time, the water was not small. There were even places where the water had overflowed the canal and seeped through the sandbags. There were people working hard to fill in the soil. If they fell in, at least 9 out of 10 people would fall in. Then hurry up and report it. I don't have time to deal with you. If you continue to make noise in front of me, I'll have the people write a 10,000 people petition against you. Lu Yenzhua, do you think the higher-ups will believe you, or will they believe me? If you push me too far, I'll take food from Sanshui County tomorrow and send it to the capital. I'll say that the emperor is at peace and that the people of Huayuan County are gathering food to report to the emperor. I'll add a 10,000 people petition. Zhang Zhong threatened with full confidence. Assistant Minister Lu was so scared that he slipped and almost fell. He pointed at Zhang Zhong and said, "You're taking food from Sanshui County in the name of the people of Huayuan County. You're quite bold. If the people of Sanshui County don't say anything, what can you do? You're quite bold? I dare to push you into the river. I'll say that Assistant Minister Lu came to investigate the irrigation works. In order to block the water, you rushed forward without a care for your own safety and fell into the water. Sir Lu, do you think I dare or not?" Chapter 377. Assistant Minister Lu was really frightened this time. He was supported by someone and watched the lantern representing Zhang Zhong gradually disappear into the distance. He didn't dare to make a sound. This push also woke him up. He sighed and said to the person holding him, "Let's let go." Let go. Looks like we won't be able to rush back tonight. Look around and see if anyone can give us a place to rest. It would be best if there's something to eat. Remember to pay. Your Excellency, that Zhang Zhong he? The person behind him asked. Forget it. County Magistrate Zhang is devoted to the people. He should be rewarded. When we go back, I'll help him write a memorial to ask for a reward. Assistant Minister Lu seemed to have suddenly become a different person. The person behind him let go of his hand and said, "In that case, we'll go ask them and ask them to give us the best place and the best things. We'll give them a few taels of silver. It's too good for them. Hurry up and do it." Assistant Minister Lu said calmly and turned to go back. Zhang Zhong didn't care about Assistant Minister Lu at all. He was still looking at the canal and asked the person next to him, "How's the situation on the other side of the river?" "Your Excellency, it's fine. Since the opening here is getting bigger and bigger, the water level on the other side of the river has dropped. Your Excellency, how long do we have to keep the water flowing? If the opening is too big, we won't be able to fill it." The person who had just gone to check the situation replied respectfully. Zhang Zhong raised his arm and pointed to the place where the water was flowing. "When that place becomes a lake, that's when we can stop. Your Excellency, if it really becomes a lake, there's no need to stop. We can just draw water from the lake and connect it to other places. Does Your Excellency really want that place to become a lake? There are still some people in the fields there." The person was worried about Zhang Zhong. "Yes, the shrimp fields. In the future, the people who originally planted there can raise shrimps. They won't have to worry about not being able to sell the shrimps. Many people will come to buy them. When the time comes, those who live near you can come and eat. When the mountain is repaired, remember the name. The first time is free." Zhang Zhong's idea was his own. When Zhang Xiaobao mentioned this matter, he only mentioned raising something. Zhang Zhong felt that it was fine to let these people eat for free. Sir, my family is not from here. We are from a neighboring county. This person regretted not moving to Hua Yuan County earlier. It seemed that it was not easy to enter now. Zhang Zhong smiled and said, "This time, you have contributed a lot to this county. If you are willing to stay and live in this county will accept all of you. Won't it be close in the future?" "Sir, you're not lying to me?" the man asked happily. "Of course, I won't lie to you." Zhang Zhong couldn't wait for all the people in the surrounding counties to come and live with him. "Sir, please wait for me. I will go and inform them that I am also a citizen of Hua Yuan County in the future. Sir, when the time comes, I will treat you to the free prawns." The person left behind these words and ran towards the people who came with him. "Okay, go and come back quickly. I still have to watch over here." Zhang Zhong shouted at the man and laughed to himself, "This is a lot of people." Between the clouds and the water, San Shui County. The old man was not resting yet. He didn't care whether it was dark or not. He sat in the pavilion with a bamboo hat on his head and continued fishing. The water was boiling on the stone table in the pavilion. A man in ordinary green clothes was watching the fire. From time to time, he glanced at the old man who was fishing. When the water boiled, the old man put down the fishing rod and walked over. He washed the tea bowl, put some tea leaves in it, and rinsed the water. After a while, he poured the water out and rinsed it again. Only then did he close the lid. "Minister Liu, do you think that Kid Liu can achieve his goal this time?" "I don't think so. Won't he just ask Zhang Zhong to hand him over directly?" The old man grabbed a handful of snacks made of pumpkin seeds and ate one as he spoke to the person sitting in front of him. Minister Liu also followed suit. He grabbed a small handful and put it in his hand. However, he wasn't in a hurry to eat it. Instead, he said to the old man, "Old minister, you might have thought wrongly. LV Yenzhua has always been working under me. He is reliable, patient, and meticulous. How could he do something wrong? That's not right. On a rainy day, he rushed all the way here. Before he could rest, he was sent out by you again. Moreover, he saw the clairvoyance and that fan thing. He felt wronged and wanted to make a big contribution. On top of that, he is a fourth-rank official. He rushed here in a hurry. If he doesn't do well, he might show his authority first. If it was someone else, it would be fine. However, he is facing Zhang Zhong. How could Zhang Zhong let him do that? If Zhang Zhong stayed in the yamen, he might have returned empty-handed. However, if Zhang Zhong is busy with the county affairs, no one would be in a bad mood on such a rainy day. The old man knew what kind of character Zhang Zhong was. He had also interacted with LV Yenzhua before. He always felt that the two of them didn't seem to get along. Zhang Zhong was the kind of person who did things straightforwardly. The old man had nothing to worry about. His family was rich and powerful. He also had a master guiding him behind the scenes. LV Yenzhua's character was more feminine. If it was a normal time or an official in the imperial court, he would know how to endure. However, he met a local official. In addition, it was an opportunity to make a contribution. Moreover, the weather was bad. It was very likely that he would use the method of suppressing the other party to get the matter done quickly. Originally, he wanted to contact the other party. If it was someone else, they would also want to find the person directly. It was easy for a minister to find a person who didn't have any achievements. However, that person was the lifeblood of the Zhang family. Not only did he do things well, but he also made money. How could Zhang Zhong let such a person go? Minister Liu didn't think so much. He ate a pumpkin seed and felt that it tasted good. He smacked his lips and said, "Old minister, don't worry. LV Yenzhua won't cause any trouble. Even if he uses his official position to suppress others, he will definitely endure it and find an opportunity to retaliate. But that Zhang Zhong, how can he be so daring? Then he needs to be properly sharpened. If his edges are too sharp, he's not suitable to be an official." As for his family, Since he can make a curved plow, write nature, and even create a clairvoyant, I'll use the Ministry of Works order to recruit him. Then don't think about getting anything. If you anger that person, you won't be able to do anything else as a minister in the future. It seems that you don't know that person's methods. I actually hope that you can give it a try. Let this old man open his eyes. The old man didn't think that Lu Jiro could fight against the person behind Zhongjia Zhuangzi. That person's methods were hard to understand. When he was gentle, he was like a Buddha in 10,000 homes. In Sanshui County, no one said anything bad about the Zhong family. When he was ruthless, he was like a cold wind blowing in one's face. Life or death, it was all in one's mind. In particular, this person seemed to know almost everything. If he wanted to kill someone, he didn't need knives, guns, bows, or crossbows. Just the firecrackers in the grocery store were enough. Unfortunately, this person was deeply hidden and couldn't be seen by others. Li Sun sent someone over. He learned a lot of things, especially mathematics. However, the person who taught him was definitely not the person behind the Zhong family. Lu Xiangshu looked at the old man's eyes. His hands were already clenched into fists. He was very uncomfortable because of the pumpkin seeds. After a few breaths of time, he finally sighed. Since old minister said so, I naturally don't dare to look for trouble. It's just a pity that he can make so many things. Old minister, don't tell me you don't want him to do something for the country and the people? He had a good grasp of when to advance and when to retreat. He didn't feel like he had lost face at all. The old man chuckled and said, if we really want to talk about ability, it shouldn't be your Ministry of Works. It won't make a difference even if you put it in the Sea Agricultural Temple. Even if they learn it, when I teach them, they've already learned the 1,000-character classic and memorized the Analects of Confucius. Now they're learning the selected literary works. When they reach a certain level, they feel that they can't catch up, so they start to memorize the area classics. What do you think? The old man didn't hide anything. These were all relatively normal, the kind that wasn't normal. He told Lu Jiro one by one. After listening, Lu Jiro was stunned. Chapter 378. Now you know, right? Sometimes, you don't have to meet to do things well. You have seen the clairvoyance. For us, it's a very common thing. 2 crystal pieces and a bamboo tube. But when it's made, it can let the army know the enemy's movements in advance. The old man didn't care about Lu Jiro's silly appearance and continued to talk. When he felt that the tea was almost ready, he lifted the teacup and used the lid to remove the tea foam. He took a sip and exhaled, looking like he was enjoying it. Lu Jiro had drunk this kind of tea before, but at that time, she drank the Xinyang Maojian tea that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had people steal from Hunan. This time, it was the Westlake Longjing tea. Huh? Old minister, this tea of yours? After drinking a sip, Lu Jiro asked in surprise. Do you feel that it's different from what you drank before? Do you know where this tea came from? When the old man saw her expression, he guessed that she still didn't know where the tea came from. Lu Jiro shook her head and said, I really don't know where it came from. At that time, when someone sent it to me, they said that they wanted me to help Zhang Zheng. But the examiner and I didn't get along well, so I didn't help much. Who would have thought that Zhang Zheng actually passed the exam? Later, when they arranged the official position, I also didn't do anything. Those people seemed to be helping Zhang Zheng too. Later on, I understood. Since they could find me, they could find someone else. Could it be that this tea was bought by Zhang Zheng's family as a gift? I also have a lot of black fungus. I heard that it was planted by Zhongjia Zhuangzi. Until now, I still haven't figured out how to plant black fungus. I don't have any seeds. It's really not a waste of talent to let that person go to the agriculture temple. The old man didn't speak directly. Instead, he took another sip of tea, grabbed the pumpkin seeds on the table, and ate a few. Lu Jiro didn't interrupt him and sat there quietly waiting. After the old man finished eating, he patted some of the seasonings on his hands and said, "The tea you drank was picked by me from West Lake. I gave it to Zhongjia Zhuangzi and they brought back the tea leaves for me. The tea you drank before was taken from Hunan. It was also passed to Zhongjia Zhuangzi. Zhongjia Zhuangzi made this kind of tea? Then wouldn't they have become the target of public criticism?" Lu Jiro naturally understood the value of this kind of tea. Drinking it was addictive. She was very careful when she drank it and was reluctant to part with it. Who would have thought that as long as the Zhang family's manor picked the tea and sent it to them, they would make good tea? The old man toos Lu Jiro. He took another sip of the tea. Where did the arrows come from? The tea that other people drink is all sent out from the prince's mansion. The tea produced by the Zhang family, some of it is kept for themselves, some of it is sold, and most of it is sent to the prince's mansion. The prince's mansion can either give it away or sell it for money. Who would dare to rob the Zhang family's recipe? What's the difference between that and robbing the prince's mansion? The only one who can get the recipe is the emperor. But the emperor is very good to his brother. How could he do such a thing for a cup of tea? Besides, if the emperor wants to drink it, how could there be less? Old Minister Li is right. Then can you give me the book of nature? I'll go back and let people think about it. Maybe they can make something more useful. Lu Jiro brought up the matter of the book. Oh. Minister Li won't wait for Assistant Minister Lu? Maybe Assistant Minister Lu can bring him back. The old man deliberately said. If it was before, it would be possible, but now it's impossible. The Zhang family has a close relationship with the prince's mansion. Why would they be afraid of a mere assistant minister? Especially when I heard that Zhang Zhong's methods are amazing. He just took over Huayuan County, and he cleaned up the original people. He repaired the roads and mountains, and even the river was repaired by your nephew. It's not easy to find a mistake. Even if you find one, as long as it's not a rebellion, what can you do to him? The Zhang family has not found an excuse to reward them for their contribution. At worst, we'll be even. But in the emperor's heart, we may not be even. When Assistant Minister Lu comes back, I'll persuade him. At this time, Lu Jiro no longer had any hope for Assistant Minister Lu. When a high-ranking official came to a place, he naturally had to put on airs. The officials in the capital and the officials outside were not the same. Even the most amiable people in the court would have a bit of arrogance. In addition, this matter was a great contribution, and the weather was bad, so it was normal for him to lose his temper. The key to the problem was who the other party was. Zhang Zhong could be said to be in charge of 2 counties. His family was rich, he was the new top scorer, he had a good relationship with the prince, he had a good relationship with the old minister, and he also contributed to the contribution of the prescription. Why would such a person care whether or not the other party was a capital official? There's no rush. We'll talk about it when he comes back. If it's not done, then take the book. If it's done, then I won't have to worry too much. I heard the 2 children say that a lake will be built at Yawang Mountain in the future. This is also a matter for your Ministry of Works. When the time comes, don't forget what to do. Zhongjia Zhuangzi has never been simple. The old man still wanted to see how Assistant Minister Lu would handle this matter, even though Lu Jiro already knew that it was going to be a bad thing. Lu Jiro understood. Old minister, where will this Zhang Zhong go in the future? Where else can he go? In his hands, Huayuan County will become a Shang County like Sanshui County. At that time, he will naturally enter the court as an official. If he doesn't become a 5th-rank official, then he will be at least a 6th-rank official. Maybe then you will have the opportunity to work together. Isn't Zhang Zhong's age a bit too young? If he enters the court at such a young age, it will be a waste to not give him a position with real power. Lu Jiro felt that this was not a good idea. He had only been a county magistrate once. No matter if he was from Zhongxian or Shang County, even if he really entered the capital, his future career would not be smooth. If it was someone else, he wouldn't think about it. However, the person in the Zhang family seemed to have been helping Zhang Zhong to get up step by step. If Zhang Zhong's career did not progress, who could guarantee that that person would not be disheartened? After Lu Jiro mentioned it, the old man also thought of this point. With the ability of the Ping Zhang family, they should not enter the court too early. Going to a place to gain experience, and experience was the right way to go. Thinking of this, the old man fell into deep thought. He was pinching the pumpkin seeds in his hand. Lu Jiro looked across and suggested, "Why don't we wait for Zhang Zhong to turn Huayuan County into Shang County? Then we can help him and not let him enter the capital. We can send him to a place farther away, a place that is more difficult. According to their ability, if they can make that place a little better, it will also be a great achievement and experience. This matter can't be decided too early. I will write a letter to Xiao Bao and Cuckoo and ask them how their studies are. By the way, I will mention that if the Zhang family agrees, then let Zhang Zhong go to work harder. This is easy to do. If they don't agree, then I will help them when I can." The old man agreed with Lu Jiro's idea, but he didn't know what the expert in the Zhang family was thinking. He could only try to sound them out first. "In that case, I will wait here for a few days and think about it. If there is something I don't understand, I hope old minister can give me a pointer or two." Lu Jiro was ready to invest in Zhang Zhong. She wanted to let the person behind Zhangjia Zhuangzi understand that if he really did well, he might be able to be the prime minister for a few years. The old man agreed and didn't continue to talk about this matter. He began to talk about some unimportant things. They drank tea and went fishing. The two talked quite well. It was dinner time, and they went back together between the clouds and the water. The next day, when it was almost noon, the rain didn't seem to stop. The old man began to make arrangements for the competition. He wasn't afraid of the rain, so he could build a shelter. The feeling of competing in this kind of weather was naturally different. Even the spectators felt that it was fresh. Lu Jiro finally waited for Assistant Minister Lu to come back. When Lu Yenzhua came back, his face was very ugly. It didn't seem like he was angry, but more like he was lacking in qi and blood. "Minister Lu, something happened when we got there. We didn't invite anyone, and we didn't see anyone." County Magistrate Zhang Zhong personally oversaw the situation there. In order to prevent the river from bursting the banks, he specially opened a hole. This was why the downstream was safe and sound. "I think we should give him a reward." Lu Jiro was eating. There was only one dish for lunch, stewed food. It was stewed for a long time, so the fragrance kept coming out. This made Lu Yenzhua, who had only drunk some cold water and hadn't eaten anything since yesterday's noon, continuously swallow his saliva. "Assistant Minister Lu, why don't you give me some face and eat with me? Don't look at the stewed food, and don't look at the pork in it. The taste is really good. There is also rice with salted fish. I can't eat it alone." Lu Jiro understood when she saw Lu Yenzhua's appearance. How hungry did he have to be to have such a reaction when he saw the food? Lu Yenzhua didn't stand on ceremony and sat down. He first used a spoon to scoop up more than half of the stewed food and poured it into a bowl. He drank a mouthful of the stewed food and took a bite of the salted fish. His chopsticks moved up and down. In the blink of an eye, he ate half a bowl of rice with salted fish. He exhaled and began to tell Lu Jiro what happened yesterday. After he finished telling the story without missing a single detail, he picked up a piece of meat and threw it into his mouth. As he ate, he said, "It's delicious. The food made by between the clouds and the water is really extraordinary. Even the rice that people usually don't eat is delicious." He didn't know that it was because it was eaten with salted fish. Originally, the best thing to eat with salted fish was corn flour, but there wasn't any here. As Lu Jiro listened, she almost couldn't hold back her laughter several times. Lu Yenzhua really suffered a lot. Zhang Zhong actually didn't give him anything to eat because he wasn't at the post house or the government office. He asked people to spend money to buy food, and the price was raised to the level of 20 taels of silver per meal. In the end, not a single commoner was willing to give up their food, no matter how much money they were given. The reason was very simple: It was because they had offended the county magistrate. Fortunately, no one was watching the cold water, so they could use it as they pleased. That was why they drank a bellyful of cold water. After that, they didn't have a place to stay, so they could only sleep in the carriage. Who knew that after Lu Yenzhua fell asleep, Zhang Zhong would arrange for Lu Yenzhua's people to stay in a tent. He also gave them some food, which was also stewed food. The entrance of the tent was guarded by the prince's mansion's guards with crossbows. The people who followed Lu Yenzhua had a full meal and a good night's sleep, but Lu Yenzhua was the only one with bad luck. Lu Jiro looked at Lu Yenzhua and thought for a moment. She said, "Assistant Minister Lu, Zhang Zhong's courage is really too big. He is preparing to become an official in the capital. When the time comes, you and I will find more people and put him in the poorest and most difficult place." Chapter 379. The old men of Huayuan County were really accurate. It rained heavily for 3 days. On the morning of the 4th day, the rain finally subsided. Some places even had sunlight. Zhang Zhong didn't go anywhere these days. He stayed at the foot of Yaowang Mountain. When the water was heavy, no matter what he was doing, he would put down everything and rush to the dam to guard it. If he was sleepy, he would lie down in his house for a while. If he was hungry, he would just eat something. He watched for 3 days. Miraculously, nothing happened to the river and the canal on Yaowang Mountain. The rain stopped, but the water level didn't drop immediately. They had to wait for half a day for the water to flow down more upstream. The people who were working let out a sigh of relief. They looked at the muddy lake. It wasn't too big. They still had to keep the canal. In the future, it would become a river that fed into the lake. When the time came, they would open a hole in another place. When the lake water reached a certain level, it would flow to the downstream from that hole or become a separate river. Zhang Zhong went to bed at 3 in the morning and woke up at 9 in the morning. He slept quite well. After eating an unknown meal, he came to the dam again. The commoners greeted them one after another, their gazes filled with deep respect. The happiest ones were the commoners who came here from the outside to do some odd jobs. Ever since Zhang Zhong said that they could stay in Huayuan County, this news quickly spread among them. "Master, please change your clothes. There's nothing to do here. When the rain stops and the water level drops, you still have to go back to the yamen. You don't know how many things are there." The yamen runner carried a new set of official robes and followed behind Zhang Zhong to let him change. Zhang Zhong had been wearing the torn clothes for the past 3 days. He didn't wash them. At this time, they looked dirty and tattered. They didn't look like official robes at all. However, Zhang Zhong felt that he was a real official at this time. "There's no hurry. Let's wait until the rain stops. Otherwise, we'll get wet again. In the future, this lake will be our family. We can settle many people who can't find a job. We can also make money. It won't be worse than those businesses at the foot of Yaowang Mountain." Zhang Zhong said happily as he looked at the muddy lake and imagined what it would be like in the future. The yamen runner was also happy. The more money and power the master had, the better life the people in the inner courtyard would have. They would have more confidence when they went out. He thought for a while and said, "Master, I have a younger brother. He is 21 this year. Why don't we let him raise some fish and shrimp here? He hasn't found a wife yet." "No." Zhang Zhong rejected the request without thinking. The bailiff was a little helpless, but he couldn't say anything. If the master didn't want him to do it, then he couldn't do it. But Zhang Zhong's next words made him happy again. "Isn't it a waste of talent for people from the inner yard to come here to raise fish and shrimps? Let him be a steward here and manage the others well. When the time comes, if he takes a fancy to any girl, the main family will help him marry her into the family. In the future, they will live separately." "Ah, Master, is that true? Thank you, Master." "You don't need to live separately. When you become a steward, you can get married immediately. It's not a girl from any family, but a girl from the inner yard. The good girls outside are not ordinary. They don't like ordinary people from the inner yard. Only the people in the inner yard are pleasing to the eye. Hee, master, when you live in the main family, it's enough to have a house. The yamen runner finally helped solve a big problem for the family. His younger brother could get married. His younger brother had been with that girl for a long time, but the girl insisted that she was waiting for his younger brother to have a good future. What good could he do by staying in the inner yard all day? Of course, it didn't count if he did the work that he should do, but it was different if he came out to be a steward. Zhong didn't object to the love between people in the inner yard. As long as they followed the rules and followed the etiquette, they could get married if they liked. In the future, they would have children in the inner yard. After listening to the yamen runner, he agreed. When it's time for the wedding, the main family will send a betrothal gift and a dowry for the bride. See if we can still buy land behind the yamen and build a new house there. We can't mistreat the people in the inner yard. Thank you, master. When the time comes, my younger brother won't be separated from the main family. In the past 2 years, the two of them have saved some money. Life will be good. Master, that assistant minister, why don't you think of a way to find out about him? What if he plays tricks behind your back? The yamen runner imagined the situation when his younger brother got married. The more he thought about it, the happier he became. In the future, he would still be a member of the main family, so he didn't need to spend much money. His meals and clothes would still be taken care of by the main family. When he had children, the main family would also help to raise them. When they were older, they would go to school. When they were older, they would go to school. Thinking of these good things, the yamen runner suddenly remembered the assistant minister that came that day. Master didn't let him off lightly, so he was a little worried. Zhong didn't care at all. I don't care what assistant minister he is. He doesn't have the guts to impeach me. As for playing tricks behind my back, let him be. There are many people who want to play tricks on the Zhong family. Master is right. The Zhong family is not afraid. Master, the young master and young lady are here. As the yamen runner spoke, he saw the young master and young lady coming from the other side. He took the initiative to take a few steps back to make space for them. The rain was getting lighter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan worked together to hold up a large umbrella, rolled up their trousers, and wore sandals woven from reeds on their feet. They waded through the water and came over. The two of them had just received the letter sent by the old man. In the letter, the Minister of Works and Assistant Minister Lu were mentioned. The main point was that Zhong would go out after he finished being the county magistrate. The old man wrote down the pros and cons. He meant to let Zhong be an official in a poor place in the future. As long as he had some achievements, it would be a great political achievement. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't help but admire the old man. It wasn't because of the old man's idea, but because he pushed this matter to the hated Assistant Minister Lu and gave him a chance to take revenge. He made Assistant Minister Lu feel that Zhong wanted to enter the imperial court. He contacted some people to think of a way to get Zhong to a remote and poor place. This way, he would be more comfortable. The Zhong family would also save some trouble. There weren't many people who could help and didn't need to give any benefits. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's side of the old fox, they came to discuss with Father Zhang and asked if he agreed. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan agreed. Zhang Xiaobao originally made this arrangement because he didn't expect that becoming an official in the imperial court didn't require experience in various departments. After the old man's explanation, he found out that one needed to be a provincial governor or a prefect. Otherwise, it was usually impossible to be promoted to a higher position. One could only be a deputy in a certain department and prepare to rely on luck to get promoted. It was really too difficult. Wang Wan originally didn't oppose Zhang Xiaobao's suggestion because she thought of Yang Guozhong. This person relied on nepotism to get promoted. The Zhang family didn't have a noble consort, but the Zhang family could use other means to get such a position. Now that she saw the old man's letter, she decided that it was better to follow the normal route. When it was raining heavily, they didn't use umbrellas. When the wind blew, they would get wet. When it was drizzling, it was just right. Zhang Zhong turned around and saw his son and daughter-in-law coming over. He smiled happily and said to the two of them, "Have you been staying at the foot of the mountain for the past 3 days? Did you want me to go home with you?" "Father, it's lively at the foot of the mountain. It's not annoying, but we really need to go home." The yeoman's matters can't always be handled by others. Father, grandfather sent a letter. Take a look. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan walked forward, Zhang Xiaobao took out the letter from his chest and handed it to his father as he spoke. Zhang Zhong thought that Bai Go had written another letter to test the two of them, so he didn't pay much attention. He casually took out the letter. When he read it, he realized that the letter was specially written for him. "Xiaobao, isn't it a bit early to talk about this matter?" Zhang Zhong actually didn't want to be an official outside. It was written clearly in the letter that if he didn't become an official outside, it would be difficult to find opportunities to go further in the future. Unless there was a big matter that required a deputy position in a certain department. The deputy position had to be done exceptionally well to be valued. Zhang Xiaobao had studied a lot of psychology. How could he not know what his father was thinking? He advised from the side, "Father, it's not early anymore. Do you really want to work for 3 to 5 years? After the autumn harvest this year, all the infrastructure construction will be completed. In addition to the various businesses, Huayuan County will be even more prosperous than Sanshui County. Father, you are still young. You are not even 30 years old. You are only 20 years old. It's fine if you go to the capital to be an official now. Put in more effort for the family and let you do chores in various departments first. When the time comes, you can use some money or make some achievements. Then you can be promoted slightly. But if you want to be the assistant minister, you will need at least 10 years. 10 years is still young. You are only 34 or 35 years old. But if you want to be the minister, it may take more than 10 years. You can also sit there. Think of more ways. I can help you, but I am too tired. It's not just a simple achievement. There are also political struggles with other senior officials. Father, don't you want to do something big? Just being an official is not enough. The Zhang family still needs a lot of money to support. I still need to earn money. Although Cuckoo is helping me, Cuckoo also has her own things to do." Zhang Xiaobao told the truth. Zhang Zhong looked at his son and realized that his son was still a child. He was already so tired. When he grew up, he would have his own things to do. He could not help him behind the scenes all the time. He had to learn more about this kind of thing in the future. He could not always study behind the scenes. It was also good to go to a place. The poorer the place, the more conflicts there were. It was also a kind of learning and training. If he directly entered the imperial court, he would have the help of his family. Furthermore, he would be an official who dealt with chores. His colleagues would give in to him, and he would not get too much training. It was better to go outside and take a look at the poorer places. With his son's ability, he did not need to do anything else. He only needed to copy some things from Sanshui County and Huayuan County. Thinking of this, Zhang Zhong did not know whether he should be happy or helpless. He was helpless because he had too little experience in officialdom and needed others to protect him. He was happy because any official would treat him like this. It could be said that they were arrogant. They would be the top scorer just because they said so. When it came to Huayuan, they would become the county magistrate. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.